Rowena Dooley asking Sol citizens to report for duty. This is Rowena Dooley asking Sol citizens to report for duty.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Soul Voices. I'm Griffin Gaming RPG, and thank you for joining me today on Saturday, IAE second weekend. Today is what, November the 26th? Is that right? 25th, Saturday. And hopefully you guys are having a good week and a great weekend as we're starting to wind down on the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo being held at Microtech, New Babbage at the Tobin Convention Center. I got it all right this time. Hopefully you guys are having a good time. Hopefully you've enjoyed the convention this week. Hopefully you've minded your wallets. You've kept them in check. Hopefully you have. But today is it looks like a big spending day for many people in the community. So shout out if you decided to support CIG. Let me say that first of all, if you are donating to this particular project, you are donating to help build out the game that we all look forward to playing, Chris Roberts' dream. And then as a side, you get a very cool ship, right? So that's the whole thing. Sometimes we flip it around, right? We worry about buying the ship and forget about this is about the project. So here's Griff to remind you that we're here to support the project. And as a token of your great your donations and your generosity, they give us a ship to play around with, which is pretty cool. So hopefully you guys have been doing that. Let's see, let me give some shout outs. We got a lot of people here right at the beginning of the show. I figured you guys would be walking around the convention center, but you'd rather sit here and stare at me, so I'm flattered. We've got Nomad is out there, Pops in Space. Who else is BBG, Big Black Gaming? Good friend Danger Hobo's out there as always. Noble, Shimpasta, Stunner. Let's see, who else do I see? Who's that? Oh, Jay Voodoo Child's out there. Great. Captain Rain? Yeah, Capitan. Is it Capitan? I think that's Capitan Rain. Good to see you as well. Colossal, good to see you. Nihilus, what's up? Togi, what's up? And Vaverick too. Vaverick also. So it's good to have you guys with me today. A lot to cover. Originally I had like only 3 topics, but then I saw another one this morning I wanted to add. So I added a 4th one about crewing ships. We're going to talk about that. But today's show, as you guys can see, is entitled Want to See Grown Men Cry, right? Want to See Grown Men Cry. And, you know, this topic came up because, as usual, keeping my ear down to the ground and listening to Spectrum and the community and what folks are saying, you know, I saw some things that people were kind of raising as issues. And I was like, really? That was really how I was feeling. It was like, really? You know? And I, you know, get me wrong. I think there are some some points that people make about things that are going on within the Star Citizen community and the Star Citizen universe. But I also think, sometimes we make things much bigger than they should be. And there's going to be a moral to the story at the end. I'm going to talk about some stuff that has nothing to do with Star Citizen per se, but it does have to do about the future of Star Citizen. And so hopefully you guys will be able to stick around for that. But anyway, I hope you guys are doing stuff. Who bought an Arastra? Let me ask that before I get rolling. Did any of you guys buy an Arastra? Interestingly enough, I waited. I said, I'm going to see, I had some credit that was sitting around in my account that I hadn't used. And I was like, let me see what this thing is like. And let me see what the price is like. It did come out pricier than I expected it. Vaverick and I have been talking about what we thought it was because we were trying to use the model of 315 for the mole. You know that they increased the Orion by $75 prior to IAE, so that was at $675. I was kind of hoping that it was going to be like maybe War Bond, 450, 460, and then maybe credit was going to be 500. No, I was way off. I went under. Usually I'm over. This time I went down, and it was it was a little bit more than I expected. So anyway. If you bought one, congratulations. I don't know if you guys saw this. CIG in their first hour made $1 million. Now, I don't think that was just the Arastra. There were some other ships that were on sale. Obviously, RSI is a big thing right now. You get the Zeuses out there. You have a lot of people still hyped up from CitizenCon about the whole RSI family of big ships. So you had the Polaris, the Perseus, the Galaxy. Then the whole thing came up about building bases. So of course that made some people who have Galaxies who didn't have maybe I'll get a Galaxy because that's a multi, I can do a bunch of things. It's got the modularity. So I'm sure there were a lot of things that people were thinking about. But, once again, CIG's marketing reigns supreme. That's all I can say. If they yanked in $1 million in the first hour and they still got the rest of today, of course they did it on a Saturday, which is post payday for many people on a Friday. And coming off the holiday, people are feeling good. They ate a lot of turkey and ham if they're in the U.S. So yeah, it's interesting to see where this is going to go. This is their biggest, between this and Invictus, these are their big things when they do the ship sales. And for many people who are in the community, this is the time where most people in the community will actually either tweak their fleets, reduce their fleets, do CCU game, all that stuff happens. And some people are brand new to the game. And this is the right time if they're interested in thinking about backing and supporting the project and getting a ship at the same time. So anyway, I hope you guys didn't hurt yourselves too badly. Hopefully you didn't use your rent money, your car note, your insurance money. Hopefully you guys are okay. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into these topics today. Again, the title for the day is Want to See Grown Men Cry. And I know there are ladies out there, so ladies don't feel excluded. But in this particular case, I hear most of the crying coming from the men. There may be some guys out there, ladies out there crying too. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump into what we're going to talk about for today. Okay, first one, hot topic, right? Everybody knows about this one, or at least you've heard something about it. Excuse me, get my throat together here. You guys remember there was a little bit of controversy prior to CitizenCon with the ship sales, and in particular with the F8. And lo and behold, the ghost of the F8 has arisen. The Phoenix has come back from the ashes, right? And this topic has come up again. The F8 insurance. Now, mind you, there's been some fix, and I am going to talk about the fix, but I'm just going to say this is what came up just a couple days ago on when the F8 went on sale during Annual Day. This is by Gridhound. And Gridhound said, I find it messed up that you're selling the F8C to people with a golden ticket with 10 years of insurance for store credit to people who didn't buy it originally. And to those reading, no, you can't melt it and try to rebuy it with the insurance. You should up the insurance on the original package people bought for the store credit. Okay, so for those of you who don't remember, and for those of you who don't know, if you remember when the F8 went on sale, you could buy it War Bond for $265 with LTI insurance. Easy, no big deal. Or if you got a license for it, if you went out and hustled, if you participated in the event and you got a golden license, you could take that golden license and you could buy one as well. And but if you bought it for only 6 months of insurance. 6 months of insurance, that was it. And so, people were content, and there was a deadline, for lack of a better term, on the sale. And the deadline was, if you have a ticket, you can use it up till November 7th. So that was past CitizenCon. A week went by, a week and a few days went by. And if you wanted to buy it, you still could. There were some people who did not buy the ship. Maybe they didn't have the money. Maybe they just decided to keep it. Like me, I kept the ticket as the license as a souvenir, I didn't use mine, but some people kept theirs. And so then IAE comes around and the F8 goes on sale again, which CIG never said would not happen. First point, they didn't say it wouldn't happen. And secondly, they did put a restriction on it. It basically said if you still had a license, you could get it, but you would get it for 10 years of insurance, because that's what's offered at IAE. Well, the people who got it with 6 months of insurance felt a bit slighted and basically said, hey, you guys are selling it to them, and they're getting it with the insurance. So I get that, right? So of course there was a lot of hubbub. People wanted this extended, and then some people were very nice about it. The guy who comments after this, did I put the link? Yeah, the link is in there. Thanks, Fast Card. I didn't know you were here. Thank you. I see you said I'm here. The guy right after that, the post says, Dear CIG, please extend the insurance to the original gold ticket purchasers for 10 years, or allow them to at least melt the old version and buy the 10 years insurance with their store credit. Thank you very much. So anyway, let's expedite past this. Xylo did respond. Okay, Xylo gave a response to it right afterward. Okay, and this was Xylo's response to this insurance thing. Xylo says, oops, excuse me. Hey everybody. The intention with the bringing back the F8 on the Anvil Day was to fulfill the numerous requests that came through after the previous promotion ended. With that in mind, we brought it back exclusively for those of you who had acquired a gold license during the October event, but had not picked up the Lightning. We fully extend for people to be able to melt we fully intended for people to be able to melt the previous acquired F8s and repurchase the IE version with increased insurance, as has been possible for many ships in previous events. Unfortunately, because of the way the badging for this one works, it isn't possible. The team is aware and will address this for future promotions when they are back in the office. In the meantime, if you're in the boat looking to melt and upgrade, simply submit a ticket to your support team and they'll get it squared away. Okay, so that's basically it. CIG did this thing. The community said, hey, we still got licenses. We still would like to buy it past the November 7. They bring it back at IAE. They offer it with 10 years of insurance, right? Because that's what IAE is about. And now they're saying, hey, if you want to be able to melt, that was our intention. We want to do that. But there was a technical issue with doing it. So, my question to you is, how do you feel? Do you feel like CIG made the right steps? Do you think that this whole thing was a mess up? Some people will say if they never sold the F8, this wouldn't be an issue. Some people will say no, they went in and tried to fix it and make amends with the community. But that's where we are right now. So if anybody wants to come in and give me their thoughts on that, that's fine. If not, we will definitely move on to the next topic. But I've no Pops and Spaces in here, so I'm going to bring him in and let's see what Pops thinks. Pops, are you there?
Yes, I am. How are you today?
I'm doing okay. How about you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay.
I think they did the right thing in far as Xylo making the post telling them that adjustments will be at a later time, because it was certainly taken as a FOMO. If you went out and you did the golden ticket thing and you bought it, and it kind of you wanted to get it, the excitement in the community was like, hey, it's here. And then they give the 10-year insurance. Yeah, that would have been pretty bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah,
so I can't blame anybody for that.
I felt kind of funny about when I saw it go on sale. I did feel a little funny that they only offered it with 6 months of insurance the first time. I kind of felt, because I've seen them do promotions where they've given a year or 2 years. I didn't expect 10 years, but I was kind of like, I don't know if I'd do that for 6 months. A lot of people did.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't care.
I felt it. I agree, because I was like 6 months. I was like, what? Because I was on the fence.
Mhm.
It's a ship that I think everybody thinks it's the baddest looking. Well,
Mhm.
not everybody, but
Yeah.
a large percentage thinks it's one of the most
Right.
well designed looking ships
Right.
in the game. All the guns on it,
Mhm.
and I think everybody was trying to figure out in the back of their mind how we were going to get it. But the 6 month thing, I was like, oh my goodness. Ooh.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
Now let's talk about insurance real quick too, so people will know.
Mhm.
For those of you who don't know, insurance, or LTI, is insurance that basically says if your ship for some reason is destroyed, not damaged, destroyed. If it's destroyed, it will be replaced. The insurance company will replace your ship. There will be a time frame tied to that as well. Right now, we already know that when we claim ships, mostly we're claiming them either because they get destroyed or we're moving them from one location to another. There's a timer. And that timer could be anything from a minute and a half up to 45 minutes to an hour and a half. But later on, CIG has stated that insurance in reclaiming will be much more in depth. First of all, you will always be able to insure a ship, no matter what. That will be available to you,
Right.
even if you have 6 months of insurance. You will still be able to insure your ship when that 6 months expires. Now, that 6 months will expire. And they said it will be a reasonable amount of money. It won't be some astronomical amount. We don't know whether it's going to be for a period of time. In other words, will they say, if you want to insure this ship for the next week, month, year, maybe they'll do that because maybe you don't want to insure it. You just want to take this one ship out right now. Maybe it'll be an annual insurance, like a lot of us do. We get car insurance, it's for a year, whatever. Maybe that's what you'll do. I don't know. But they are going to make it so that you will be able to afford it. Now, this is important because this creates an economic engine in the game for why you need to continually, in some way or other, bring in money and just not let it accumulate in your bank account. You want to have things to spend it on, and insurance is one of those things. CIG has also said that you will be able to, this has come up, they've talked about being able to even insure components on your ship. There will be additional insurance that you can get. So maybe your ship's insured, but because maybe Pops hired me for a gig, I want to insure the cargo because I don't want to pay out of pocket if something happens to it. So I may have to pay a certain amount of insurance to cover it. There's even been talking about not only components, but cargo. There's different levels that insurance could come into the game. So we do make a lot about LTI. And for some people, it's very meaningful to know that they can get their ship back. But they even said LTI cannot be abused if you do self-destructs. If it's determined that you self-destructed. Listen, guys, they can track data in the game. So don't think that when you blow up your ship, they're not going to know. They're going to know whether you push the detonate button. And so if you push the detonate button, that may penalize you. You may have to pay a higher deductible, or your insurance rate may go up later on. There's a whole lot of levels to insurance. So I don't want people to get hung up on LTI, because what I'm saying is that insurance is going to expand beyond LTI. But if you can get it with LTI at the time, it's a perk for you to get it and it makes you feel comfortable. Hey, feel free, get it, But if you've got a ship with 6 months, don't feel the pressure. Don't feel the pressure. You'll be able to afford the insurance. Because you can fly an F8, you could probably afford to pay the insurance for it. Okay? That's basically what it comes down to. All right?
Yeah, I'll tell you how I always viewed it as a convenience.
Mhm.
Lifetime, I've got it.
Mhm.
I don't have to worry,
Don't have to worry about it. Mhm.
Right. If I'm out, let's say it's the Orion and it's out in an asteroid belt mining, I don't have to worry about, oh, wait a minute, I got to renew my insurance. Let
Yes.
me
You're
jump
all
off
set.
the ship. Yeah, I'm all set. So
Perfect.
yeah, that's the way I always take it.
All right, Pops. Thank you much.
All right.
All right, let me bring in Fast Cart, FC himself. What's up, buddy?
Hey, so yeah, I was expecting during the original sale,
Mhm.
for before CitizenCon,
Mhm.
I was surprised that it only had 6 months insurance when for the non-war bond.
Mhm.
I was expecting to say, so it's the 11th year anniversary and they only giving us 6 months with this thing.
Mhm.
But I went ahead and got it anyway, just in case they didn't sell it for IAE,
Mm.
because I know a lot of people saying, oh, CIG is not going to miss out on that money. They're definitely going to sell it again.
Mhm.
I just wanted to have it just in case because I've been looking forward to this ever since I heard about it.
Yeah.
I learned about the existence, so that's
Yeah.
why I went ahead and got it.
That makes sense.
But yes, I am happy to hear that the CIG took the stance. I submitted a ticket. They got back to me saying that they well, I shouldn't say what they said, but they're going to take care of it.
Right.
Basically what they said.
You know what's
So
interesting?
I'm happy about that.
What's interesting, FC, is some of the comments. If you guys read some of the comments that follow Xylo's comment, I was a little disappointed. And again, that's why I titled this show "We Want to See Grown Men Cry." After they give us an explanation and they explain what the deal is, and they say there's a technical issue, and all you have to do is submit a ticket, and we'll get it fixed for you. There were people who were still saying, "Oh, great! So now only did I do this, that, and the other, but now I've got to write a ticket too." That's been the response. That people are upset.
I didn't read those.
Oh yeah. Just keep reading down. You'll see it. There were people who complained because they used their 20% discount coupon, and I did this and did this and did this and did this. And you know, I let me get your feedback on this, Fast Card. And maybe I'm looking at this wrong. Maybe from a consumer standpoint, my expectation, the expectation could be at a different place. I do see us as consumers, and I do see that there's a certain responsibility for CIG, the company, to do certain things, deliver certain things to me as a consumer, right?
Okay.
But I also see that a lot of what we do with CIG is partnership, and we're walking a journey together. We're kind of taking this path together, you know.
You may see that, but not everyone does.
I just said, I see. That's how I started my comment out. I didn't say everybody.
I know.
I said, I see that as a path of taking it together. And sometimes there are the times when we cheer and things get right. And then there are times when things don't happen right. And I'm saying, I personally, to keep myself from going berserk about certain things, I kind of keep that perspective as long as CIG tries to do the right thing. Now, if they don't do the right thing, if they don't give a response, or if they don't come up with the communication, then I can understand. I get upset. You know, it's like, okay, well, you know, hey, I thought we were doing this together. I thought we were, you know, this is one hand washing the other. But I'm saying, when I see opportunities where they do extend and say, hey, we didn't get it right. We thought we could do this. Here's what we got to do to get it fixed. I'm okay with that. So I'm just saying, do you think that's a good place to be? Or do you think I'm being too optimistic? Do you think I should be harder on CIG when a mistake like this happens? What do you think?
I don't think you should be hard. I think you're in a good place because I'm in a similar place. I mean, like for me, I'm saying like you did. What I expected them to do is like just in case they did sell it and did give us also 10 years of insurance, there'd be a way to at least swap this. So I expected what Dilo said. I didn't and no one can anticipate that they were having a problem on their end or anything like that. But you know. I was optimistic, or maybe idealistic, as you may say, also. So
yeah,
I expected it, but I also want to say not everyone does because they may be new, or maybe they've been burned somehow with other companies, or they're not familiar with CIG,
right,
or what have you. They may not have as much optimism for whatever the reason is.
Fair.
So
Fair.
I'm not sure if it's going to be 50-50, 60-40. I would not be able to guess how the rest of the community feel.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And again, there may be some people who don't know, or even understand the process of what some of this is. And again, I'm not saying that everybody has to have this bleeding heart towards CIG. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's why I said from a consumer standpoint, I can understand people feeling like, hey, this is what's going on. It's kind of shady, blah, 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 blah. But I'm saying, but when the company makes an effort to set it right, to make an effort to put things together, I just get, some of the people who wrote these comments are people who've been in the game for a long time too. They're not necessarily new people. Some of it I can tell because if you have a 20% coupon, that means you've been subscribing for a year. So you're not new to the game, and so I just wonder sometimes whether or not people, I'm not saying make a bigger thing out of it is, because it's people's money. And I know people's money can mean a lot to them, but.
Well, can I say one thing, though?
Sure.
CIG could have avoided all this just by offering 10 years insurance from the start, in my opinion.
If they had did it like an anniversary kind of thing, like you said, like it's the anniversary,
Yeah.
we're going to do a special kind of insurance, that would have been cool. That would have been cool. But you know,
this was the first time that they're offering it. It's technically, I mean, I don't want to say it's technically a concept sale, but they released it like a concept sale.
Right.
Yeah.
That would have been cool, right? It was the first time selling it. Yes. And so let me ask you a question. If they had done that, let's say that if they had held the F8, let's say they did the F8 when they did it, but they did it with 10 years. Do you think it would have been better not to sell it at IAE, or should they have just waited for IAE? Because remember, before we went to CitizenCon, I said they could have sold this at IAE and they would have still made a ton of money. So I'm wondering, you know, if they had offered 10 years of insurance, should they have just waited till IAE and put it on sale then? Or should they have sold it both times?
The marketing team decided that it was time to sell it because it was for the anniversary. But if they waited for IAE and gave it 10 years insurance, it would have been a big surprise, and people would have been, well, you know, typically during IAE, they only do 2 or 3 ships that are new, quote unquote, that they offer. But if they waited for the F8, that would have been one more ship, and I don't know.
Well, you know what, it might have been a different.
I think people considered it a cash grab during the anniversary sale. I think people would say it was more of a cash grab if they waited till IAE. I don't know.
So do you think maybe, let's say if they did this, do you think that if they did the pre-sale beforehand and just sold it at a lower price? Like let's say they did it for $260, 10 years of insurance if you bought it on the anniversary, but when IAE came around, it's $300.
With $300 without LTI, you mean?
No, with 10 years insurance.
Over 10 years insurance.
Because that's what IAE is. What I'm saying is, I'm trying to say for that dynamic event they did in the anniversary, what the special would have been was you would have got it $40 cheaper. If you did the event, you got the golden ticket.
I think CIG, the community still would have been up and on, because then they said, "Oh, well, you know, why did I have to get a golden ticket up there?"
You got the golden ticket because when you got the golden ticket, you paid $40 less if you participated in the event.
I agree, but
you see what I'm saying?
Not everyone would see it that way. And you said earlier that I'm just looking at the site now. CIG made 1.2 million today. And they're at 98 million for the year. They're almost at 100 million for the year. So I don't know what CIG could have done. Well, I obviously if they could just offered it for 10 years.
I like your idea. I like your idea. Yeah. I was just trying to see what would have made it distinctive from the first sale and this sale. And I'm saying the first sale could have been.
Well, the honest.
Let me finish. The first sale, sell it with the 10 years as you suggested at $260, but you had to participate in the event and get a golden license. This sale, you didn't need the golden license, but it would cost $300. You see what I'm saying now?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, and I'm saying that would have been a way to distinguish the two sales, because if you did the same before CitizenCon and now, what difference would it have made? It wouldn't have made any difference. You don't think it makes sense? Okay, maybe I'm not making sense.
I mean, I hear what you're saying. I'm just thinking the way they currently have done it, that both the Warbond and the RSI Credit have 10 years insurance. They did it like a normal IAE thing, but
I don't know.
That's tough. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not sure.
Well, the good thing is they're trying to work it out. So that's the big thing. So I appreciate that. I agree. Okay. Thanks, buddy. Right. Appreciate you. All right. Let me see. I think Fist to Face was next. I don't know who was after that. Oh, my God. Fist, you there?
Hey, what's going on, Griff?
How are you? Good.
All right. So my take on this is I didn't buy it, first off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not really so much of my gameplay, but I'm glad that they did, you know, fix this. Because it does show me, hopefully going forward, that them making an error like this, because it is an error. Let's be clear. I'm just saying it in my book. It is an error for somebody to buy something and then, you know, it's then sold later, you know, and you can't, you know, exchange or, you know, get that deal on it. That doesn't look good going forward when you buy something. So I'm very glad that they did fix the issue.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, hopefully, they'll fix the other issues that we've all talked about, as far as like your black cards and all that other stuff.
No, that's a whole other story. Whole other story. All right, Fist.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you, brother. All right, let me bring in. Oh God, I don't know who is next. Let me bring in Admiral Kusanagi. Admiral.
Oh, looks like it's me.
Yep, I didn't see who came in first. Sorry.
No, I was actually next. No, I think Subvertio. Whatever. Yeah. So real quick, I think the pre-sale was a good time to do it. Verdi says that, talks about exclusivity, and that was my big thing regarding the whole reason they put the thing up for sale initially, which I was ticked off about. And I think the golden tickets were just so easy to get then. It wasn't like it was just like you could find like 3 in a box. It's like it was ridiculous. Unlike the platinum tickets were incredibly difficult to. So I think the event was kind of BS in that regard. I did actually have a golden ticket that I think I found with you guys actually. We went out once and I didn't use it, and then I rented it 2 days ago, and then I bought it, and I bought the 10-year, and everyone was complaining because I was like, oh, I felt that exclusive thing, like, oh, I got this great thing, and everybody else was complaining, and then I was like, well, wait a minute, it doesn't have LTI, and I just bought a new car, so I was like, oh, well, and so I didn't buy it. I was thinking about buying a new car, so I didn't buy it last month, and so then I was like, well, I guess it's like I really want LTI, and the way where I am with concierge, I imagine I will get it anyways in a year or two. So I was like, the hell with it. So I actually got called SIG and said, hey, I want a refund.
Okay. And
so then I got rid of it. And when we talk about insurance, I look at a Drake, like my insurance is going up 60% because my old 16-year-old new Acura that I bought in 07 was much cheaper than my brand new Acura now. So it's up to 66%. And I think that relates to what we're going to get in Star Citizen. Chris Roberts always said that we're going to have things that are commensurate through real life. Fighter jet's supposed to cost X, in relation to an aircraft carrier and so on. So I think a Drake ship is going to have cheaper insurance than, say, an Origin ship. And when we look at the 300, the insurance for that ship will be lower than, say, insuring a 600i. So I think in terms of expenses, for me, LTI is a way of not having to worry about that expense. Will there be additional insurance for upgraded components? Sure, I'm okay with that. But it's just one expense that, in real world, looking at real world life expenses and then thinking about a video game, I just don't want to worry about it. So I only try to do LTI.
Yeah.
So that's the way I got to go. And I think regarding selling it again, I'm not coming into this game saying, hey, I got $1,000. I'm gonna hold off and maybe they'll sell the F8 again or whatnot. I think them selling it first time was them saying, hey, they'll have more opportunity to buy different ships. If they buy it in October, then they won't have to worry about buying it now. And if people have extra money, they can go get like a Hercules, an M2 or whatever they have out there. So I think just saying, piling it all, taking the F8 out of October and putting it into November would actually reduce the amount of money they would get buying other ships aside from the F8. That's my take on that.
Okay, fair enough. All right, Admiral. Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
All righty. Let me bring in Gio. Gio, my brother, what's up?
Rippy, what's the word, baby? I finally get to hop on the show, man.
Yeah, good to have you, man. How are you? How was your Thanksgiving? Everything good?
Oh, man, it was great. I spent too much money. I haven't even bought a ship yet, so I'm pretty scared right now. My wallet's pretty scared.
I did the same. Trust me, I get it. So what's your thoughts on this?
So I remember me and you were talking about this on the train. We were trying to figure out what sense did it make to sell the Lightning at that point. And the more we look at it, it just seemed like it wasn't the right time to sell it. The more we look at it, because you have this debacle going on, which I don't understand, because there was a similar event that was like this, if you remember, with the pirate version of the.
Oh, the Caterpillar, was it? No.
Caterpillar, yes. It was the Caterpillar, yes, correct. It was the pirate version, and you had to win, what was it? Was it Pirate Swarm?
I think it was Pirate Swarm. Yes, it was Pirate Swarm, I think it was.
One of those swarms, you had to get it, and then you would get a token to go on the store to buy the LTI version.
Right.
So here we are. I mean, that was probably 6 years ago, maybe that happened.
It was a while back.
So we could do something like that with the F8 Lightning, which is slightly different, wasn't quite waves, and we're having a problem with, hey, you're only getting 6 months on here versus, the 10 months they're offering at the IAE, which is, I'm shocked they even brought this ship where you can even buy the IAE. I thought this was going to be that one event, and that was it. And like, oh, here we go, selling it again. So all that FOMO we just had like a month ago went out the window because now you can buy the IAE. What's going on with this ship and how CIG is trying to communicate to us? Like, and then you tell us LTI isn't a thing, or like it's not a big deal, but then you make it to war bond only, where people throw new cash in the game. If it's not this big of a deal like you told us it was, why is it behind a war bond? Why can't we use store credit and get LTI like we did back in the day? If it's not that important.
You just hit the reason why. And this is the thing that people who've been in the game hopefully start to understand. If they don't, I'm going to help you understand it. LTI is a marketing piece. It is a one hand washing the other thing. In other words, we get LTI as a benefit, like you said, to not have to worry about, my ship being insured. It's going to be covered for the base ship, which is great. But the other side of it is added deliberately as psychological marketing, because what it says to me as a consumer is, if I buy this and if I spend cash, here's one less thing I have to worry about in the game. That's from a business marketing side of this. So, because first of all, it costs CIG nothing. It costs them absolutely nothing to provide it or not provide it. It does cost me, in my mind, something if I don't have it. Now, mind you, here's the funny part. We may find out to insure, let's say I take my Connie out, right? To take my Connie out for insurance, if let's say they offer me, you want to take your Connie out for a week. They may say 100 credits. That's a drop in the bucket. They may say, insure your Connie for a year for 100,000 AECU. Drop in the bucket. Since we don't know what those real numbers are, that's kind of hovering, you know what I mean, in our subconscious. And so we're worried about insurance being like $2 million. So what do? We see LTI. It's like, look at the term, right? Lifetime insurance. It's all marketing. And okay, we get it. And I'm not saying it's not valuable, because don't get me wrong, most of my ships are LTI or 10 years of insurance. They are.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I'm a no LTI, no buy type of guy.
There you go. And that's fine.
In it as well.
And that's fine. You get what I'm saying? Because here's the other side of the coin. The other side of the coin is that when I do spend money, I'm supporting the project. And remember, that's always got to be in the forefront for people's minds. You're supporting the project. And the ship is the thank you for supporting the project.
For sure.
If people forget that the reason why you put fresh cash in is to not just acquire this ship, but to support the project, then that's where your frustration can build, because you've put all your focus on your cash on this virtual item, right? And forgotten that money is way beyond that ship. That money is about creating a game that's going to be here 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now, which is way more important than that virtual, for lack of a better term, JPEG I just bought, right? I want to have to play that JPEG for 10 years, right? So that's what I'm really paying for, right? But a lot of folks they're not looking down that path. They're looking down the path of the immediate virtual item that they have, and then they get themselves really worked up, and I'm saying you guys can keep yourself out of the mental institutions if you keep your focus on why you're donating to the project. I know that doesn't sound as romantic as flying your ship around in space and blowing people up, but I'm just trying to help you keep some type of mental sanity, because the script can flip. There's nothing that says CIG can't flip the script. We may not like it, but that's you said this before, Gio, that little checkbox and that little waiver. We were talking about this on the train. People don't read, that they can change things. And sometimes we like it, sometimes we don't. Some people don't care about this. Other people, they're losing their minds over it,
Well, same thing with concept, right? These people buy these concept ships thinking it's going to be one way. See, I always buy off the rule of cool. If the ship looks cool, that's how I buy it. And that's the way I save myself from getting salted. Like, hey, this thing's supposed to have size 5s or whatever the case may be, and then get pissy that doesn't perform right. You save yourself a lot of heart rate ache if you don't even look at it that way.
That's a good point. Good point. By the way, y'all check out Gio's video. He put out a video called The Soul Train. It shows me and I don't even know what the right word is. he and I on our trip to CitizenCon via Amtrak. It was a lot of fun, really cool. I really dug it, Gio. By the way, you did a good job with it. I got to tell you that. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I had a blast.
You
doing
beat
that.
me to it. I didn't get mine out. So I don't even know if I'm going to put mine out now. Yours was pretty good. So
I don't know. I was kind of mad about the sound on there. I didn't know my mic.
it was tough. It was tough, though. But on the train, it was still good. It was good. It was enjoyable. I enjoyed it. All right, brother. Thanks a lot.
Sure.
All right. Let me bring in Kai Zen. Then we're going to bring in Togi. And then we're going to move on. Kai Zen, what's up, bro?
Okay, so I almost dropped from the channel because you literally just made my point for me.
Oh, I'm
before
sorry.
I hopped in.
I'm
No,
sorry.
no, it's completely fine. I think all of this is a tempest in a teacup.
Yeah.
and not only is it that, but I think CIG, I know people might be thinking like, oh, poor CIG, all this hassle. They're loving this. They're laughing all the way to the bank because they have been exploiting this ambiguity for forever, and I guarantee you they will continue to exploit it forever. The last two things that will be ever added to this game are, what's that, in the Endeavor, right? The big
Endeavor.
science ship
Endeavor.
that's got a large hadron collider and a spaceship. That and the insurance program are the last two things that'll ever be added to this game. The reason why is because at Endeavor, everybody can add whatever hopes and dreams.
They see this they're in game. They see this they're in game.
That you're spinning in your head that you're gonna relive because you were watching the black hole in the 1970s, and you want to be that dude with a flying robot living in an empty city, just scooting out in space. And so, like, you could put all of your hopes and dreams and hypium and hopium and copium and bropium and whatever the
opium it is.
And then insurance, because the reality of it is there's no way that the economy, yes, insurance acts as a gold sink or money sink, cash sink. And in order for a cash sink to work, it has to be small. It has to be just barely noticeable, but accumulate over time for whatever. I don't buy shit with insurance. I don't give a shit about insurance. The insurance is going to be so cheap that if you go out and fly and do missions and do whatever for 8 hours, you'll be able to pay the insurance for a dozen ships for a month. That's the way gold sinks or money sinks in MMOs or in spaceship games or whatever. That's how it works. That's how it always has worked. That's how it always will work. But what they're doing here is making a whole big to-do over this, and we're so sorry that some people are so upset. Be more upset, be more upset. Please, stupid nerds, throw us your money. Throw it at us quicker than we can catch it. And no. And then as far as people saying, like, I can't believe they sold the F8, and they wow, we thought it would never happen. And then, they're going to sell it again just a couple months later. Yeah, dude, they told you they would never sell it, and then they sold it. All bets are off. You're gonna sell it again and again and again and again and again. And for those people that are like, but you don't understand, it's the strongest thing in the universe. Yeah, until the next thing they
until
bring
something
in,
else comes out, which they will.
Everything is the strongest thing, and then it gets nerfed. Like, seriously, we got issues in the government. We got multiple wars sparking off. We got a fentanyl crisis. We've got people out there, like, love your children. Enjoy the sunshine on your face. Give your wife or your husband a kiss. Say a kind word to your neighbor who's upset. Don't
lose your mind over this.
Don't get your thong twisted up in a knot around your balls about internet spaceships, man. Just chill. It's not that deep, yo.
Yeah, it is. It is. All right, Kai. Thank you, bro.
I love you, brother.
You too,
Be well.
Thanks
Be happy
again.
and healthy.
All right, you too. All right, let me bring in Togi, and then we're gonna go on to the next topic. Sir Togi.
What up?
What up? I'm almost there. I got to keep working on it. I got to keep working on it.
All right, so I'm gonna break this whole thing down with facts and logic.
Fire away.
All right. So you know what I don't get about this? Why are they having a whole bunch of customer support people waste their time on what's going to be, literally tens of thousands of emails when someone could go into a pack? This is the F8 credit pack with 6 months insurance. Just change it to 10-year, hit OK, and have it update everybody's F8. Why
don't
are they
know.
going to go through and individually?
I don't know. I thought it was kind of be a technical fix more than a fix at that level. I don't know. Because all the, like you said, it's every F8. It's not like only certain ones.
Yeah.
It's like just every F8. Just make them all 10-year.
Yeah,
I don't know.
make them all 10-year.
I don't know.
It'd be super easy. Can you imagine being the customer support person that's on break?
When you
like,
read that, you read that on Spectrum.
Like, please,
Yeah.
I don't want it in Monday.
You open that memo up in your email. You got to be kidding.
Trying to get hit by a bus or something, so they don't got to go back.
Xylo did say there was some technical issue. I don't get it. To me, I'd sacrifice the badges for the work because they're saying it's tied to the badge system, and I'd say screw the badges, just do the insurance and call it a day. I don't know what the technical thing is behind it. I don't know, but I would have thought it would be easier to just change it. But
even that's, like empirically not true.
Mhm.
It's not like when they added the skin
Mhm.
to the 10,000 version of the F8, I didn't have to submit an email to get it. They just added it to the pack.
I don't know. I wish I could
they
tell
could literally just add 10-year to the pack and be like, hey, you got 6 months plus 10 years.
Well, guess what? Guess what?
Feel better now.
Guess what? Virtual Bar Citizen is next week, and Xylo says he's going to be there. So we can ask that question. He will be there. We can ask him. We can ask.
I don't want to get my butt whooped.
No, you won't. You won't. You're asking. No. You're asking a fair question. It's not an outrageous question. It's like, hey, what was the technical limitation? Why couldn't you guys just make it blanket since all of them have 10 years anyway? Other than people who got them in the freaking pack, what you call it, pack concierges.
Yeah,
and stuff.
I mean, it totally makes sense that they did that, just to hype up the FOMO.
Yeah. No, we won't scare them away fast, Cards. Donald's taking way tougher questions than that. That's a fair question.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Good technical point. But you know what? We will. I'm going to put it on the list and we'll see what we can get. If we can get an answer next week, hopefully we'll see what they say. Okay.
Awesome.
All right, Togi. Thank you, brother. All right, gang. Good stuff. Good stuff. We are kicking off really good. Thank you guys for joining me. Those of you who are here. Today's title of the show is Want to See Grown Men Cry, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So let's go on to our next topic here. Is there a real idea for crewing ships? Now, mind you, I don't necessarily have the answers for this, so I would love to hear what you guys think about this, okay? Because this whole thing of multi-crew after CitizenCon, people have really been kind of raising questions about this whole multi-crew thing. It's making people even think about their fleets and their ships and whether they've got the right thing or whether they need to melt something, blah, 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 blah. So let's take a quick look at this, okay? This is by DeltaAmerican. It says, is there a real idea for crewing ships? For starters, congrats, Star Citizen, on your CitizenCon, and good luck to anyone fighting in the F5 wars during IAE. I'm a Carrack owner, and I've known for a while that crewing it will be difficult. I got a group of 8 or so friends that play, but we have never once played at the same time. And realizing this, I'm wondering, how is Star Citizen going to solve crewing? For starters, I don't remember hearing about any serious discussions about crewing an Idris or a Javelin. I'm wondering if anyone has seen talks on this. I'm aware of NPCs and server blades, but that simply doesn't solve these issues. And I really don't see giant orgs actually having real solutions either. At least I haven't seen it. Go to the next page. A lot of people that play this game will have families and good jobs. Thinking about a Carrack and achieving one long-range exploration mission, it could take like 3 weeks to organize a full Carrack crew for an all-day event. But when we log out in the beds, then none of us can play till we are available again, which condemns everyone's character to my Carrack till I'm on again, leaving my crew's own personal desires, purchase ships, and gameplay to the side so that we can achieve just one mission. I'm curious if anyone is aware of what the plan is for crewing ships like the Idris or Javelin when it comes time to do so. The only idea I'm coming up with is instanced characters. If you log out in a ship, you have produced an instance. When you log in to play, you can choose any of the instances that are available. Okay. So let's go ahead and jump into this one about multi-crew. Any ideas about multi-crewing? Now, let me say this before we get in. Please don't forget, multi-crewing is not in its final state. So we're going to be doing a lot of theory crafting. Just be aware of that. So There's none of us who are going to come here and say how multi-crewing is going to work because we just don't know every nuance that CIG is going to present. But we're definitely open to hear great ideas. So please come in. Don't come in and say, this is what CIG is going to do. Yeah, we don't know. Okay, we don't know it all. But we can go with what we have right now, go by what we've heard them say, and then pick it up from there. All right? So let me bring in BBG, Big Black Gaming. BBG, you there?
Greetings and salutations, Griffin Gaming RPG.
My buddy, good to have you, man.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Same to you.
So, on the one hand, for me, I am receiving this post as two parts. The first part makes no sense at all, and the second part is kind of lucid.
Okay.
So the first part is, it's sort of asserting the idea that this conversation isn't being had, and theory crafting and planned approaches to this aren't happening.
Right.
That's just not true.
It's been a hot topic for all the years we've been here, pretty much. Yeah.
Correct. CIG's talked about it. Orgs have talked about it. Streamers have talked about it. Everybody's talking about it, right? So this is a rich, multi-layered conversation. The second part, I think, is in fact raising some of the issues that CIG will in fact have to wrestle with, right? As they solve for what the multi-crew experience is like. Right. It does matter that, if I'm out in the brand new RSI Arastra, right? If I slipped up today and spent $575 that I wasn't supposed to spend on the Arastra, and I take it out with my 5 friends, right? And everybody has a role, and somebody has to not get on again for the next 2 weeks, right? What does it mean to solve for that person when we're out in deep space mining, right? Will CIG treat that as, well, you got to imagine that character's sick, right? And how would you deal with it if they were sick on your crew? Or, you're going to be able to, somebody else is going to be able to hot swap beds with them and appear on your ship? Or, how are they going to retain the verisimilitude that we do have in the game while also dealing with human beings and their realities? So I think those questions are good questions. The other fact of raising, NPCs and AI blades and saying, I don't see them as a solution, or the language he uses, I don't see how they're going to solve for this. I think NPCs and AI blades are going to solve for lots of things. My hope is that CIG crafts a game where they don't solve it anywhere near as well as a group of human beings who have come together and who have practiced and who are, seasoned in their roles could deliver, right? So I could imagine that in the role of engineer, or you could have an NPC engineer who at its best would function at 30 to 50% of a seasoned human engineer in that role, right? So I feel like, and you heard it on the most recent Inside Star Citizen, Star Citizen Live, that devs do think about the idea of a ship and an individual person, that they could run around as one human being and try to do it. That's going to be a mess and hard and incomplete and not great, right? But they could do it, right? That's what's in their mind as they develop the game. So, for me, NPCs and AI blades are sort of an iteration off of that, right? What would it mean to be solo? But, again, yes, gamers do have families and jobs, right? And it as long as it takes us, when we were gaming the other night, Soul Citizens were gaming the other night. As long as it takes us to organize to just go down to Ghost Hollow, I can accept the fact that it might take 3 weeks to organize a full character crew to go out.
Let me ask you a
for
question.
An all-day event.
Let me ask you a question. Would this break immersion for you? And I'm just spitballing. I'm not coming up with I was just, as you were talking, this came across my mind. Would it break immersion for you if you and I went out, let's say 5 of us went out and we were out working on an Orion, right? And we're in deep space. Okay.
Right.
And let's say that we said that every Saturday our group is going to get together. We're going to go out Friday night. We're going to be in the ship Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sunday, we're going to bring in whatever we haul. That's our schedule and our game plan. Our 5 of us that have committed to that for weekends. You with me so far, right?
Yep.
Now you want to come in and play on Monday. And the character that's on my ship, you could do an alt, right? You could create an alt and say I'll play my alt for that stuff and my group play, I'll have a secondary character. But would it break your immersion if your main character, who happened to be on my Orion, when you come back on Monday to play, you're able to say, do I want to spawn into my home base? Or matter of fact, that's just where you default. If the ship's not out there, you go to your home base, which is the way the game is now, right? But next weekend, when the Orion is up, you have the option to spawn back into that ship, back into the Orion if it's active. And you pick up from there at that point. Would that break your immersion?
Kind of. So
I'm asking you, is that a workaround too? That's what I'm trying to find, is a workaround that's reasonable. But go ahead.
No, I hear you. And it would not, I would not throw Star Citizen in the garbage if CIG forged that workaround, right? Okay. For me, my small group is the last words, and we're trying to be a very, very casual but role-playing organization. So I would like it, for example, if I wanted to do something different on Monday and we're in deep space, I would like to call, DK to come out with an E1 Spirit, or to come out with a Genesis Starliner, and I would want to pay DK to come get my character, take my character back, and that's a half hour or 40 minutes of transportation gameplay to then go and do something else on that Monday, right? That's how I would like to handle that.
But that's right? Assuming it's your ship. If it's not your ship, when you spawn in, are you saying that you would have the ability to bring that person's ship out of the dark and it would be there physically? Because that would be needed. If you logged out in that bed, you'd also have to have the ability to call that ship up. It's my ship.
Yeah, that's a difficult one.
You see what I'm saying? It's my ship. Now, obviously, if it's your ship, I get it. But I'm saying if I'm riding on your ship or mine, what I'm saying, if I'm not the owner and I want to be able to keep my reputation and everything, because this is the character I've been working on. And if I take my alt, it's a different level of reputation. Maybe I got a whole different focus for my alt. My main has this, and my main is good at mining. So I'm mining with my boys on the weekend and my girls on the weekend. But on Monday, I'm going out with my prospector. I'm making my money.
Right.
I'm trying to figure out what could be the thing that, and I get it. It does break immersion. Don't get me wrong. It does. I'm just wondering to what level, what that was. Is that some type of? Well, I know we could haggle for this all day. We've got other folks in the chat, but I like what you're saying. Is there anything else you want to say in relation to that?
I like that the community is wrestling with it, right? I like that the community is wrestling with it, because in the wrestling with it, let's be frank, we're going to surface ways in which we're thinking about it that CIG may or may not have touched in their deliberations, right? And they're always watching. So I appreciate the wrestling with it. My hope is that we end up, I'll say this and get off. My hope is that we end up in a place where the casual gamer who wants to do portions of what you just talked about can do that, and the immersive gamer has other choices. Right. For the immersive gamer, the other choices sometimes reflect a cost. They don't always reflect the benefit. Right. And I'm okay with some of that in the immersion.
That makes sense. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, BBG.
All right. Thanks, Griff.
All right, buddy. All right. Next up, I think it was Pops in Space. Let's bring Pops in. Hey, Pops.
Hey. I just want to say BBG did touch on the point I was going to make in the beginning. But I think you have to plan, and not only plan to do missions, but plan to when other people are not on. And I think the alternate account, me and my son discussed it, and we were talking about, and it's almost going to be a necessity, because if you're doing something somewhere and only 3 people show up, you can't do the Orion or whatever. Going to have to do something else. You're going to have to be organized within yourself before the game comes out, as far as multi-crew is concerned, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen in the beginning. When the game first starts out, it's probably going to be more people than you need, but then real life's going to kick in and people going to go on vacation. I got doctor's appointments, grocery shopping, and
So you feel that if CIG doesn't come up with some type of fix, that would be kind of a good workaround for you, is to just have an alt and you just, that would be your alt. That's what they would do, is your own solo stuff, and then you'd have another character to maybe be more directed toward group gameplay. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to really do a lot of planning, and I know that.
Yeah, but I mean, you introduced the alt in. I want to ask about the alt thing, though. You introduced the alt. I'm saying, is that what you were saying about the alt, though? Or are you saying, okay, I just want to make sure I understood that that's your workaround, is to have maybe a secondary character.
Is to have a secondary account.
Okay.
Or even just like BBG said, the other part that y'all discussed. DK, come pick you up. Call the Uber. Okay, I'm here. You know, take me so and so to get my other ship. Let me go do something else.
Okay.
While I can't do the other thing.
Okay.
You know.
Fair enough. All right, Pops. All right. Thank you much. All right. I don't know who is next. I'm just going to bring in Togi. Togi, you there?
What up?
Hey, back again. What you got?
Yeah. So, first of all, I think that like a lot of these questions are kind of unimaginative.
Okay.
All right. Like a lot of these problems can already be solved.
Okay.
Like we already have the, if you're stuck on a ship, put out a beacon for somebody to come pick you up. Like you're not stuck on a moon, you know, you're playing with your friends, you know, when you're a kid, just call your mom, they'll come pick you up.
Okay, but here's the deal. I get what you're saying. Okay, you're on my ship and we're in the Connie and we're doing something, I don't know, we're exploring or something like that. And we say, okay, we got to log out. When you come back in the game, like this is the same question I asked to BBG, it's not your ship. Are you saying that when you come in, the ship spawns because you have permission because you were a crew member, and then you would call and ask for somebody? Is that basically how you're seeing it work?
Yeah. I mean, again, like if you're on the ship, like I am quite certain that they're going to have some kind of permissions system.
Okay. Right.
You know, and that if you're friends with somebody and you're on their ship, or it's going to retain party information from the last.
The log out.
Or you just, and you're just, you know, you might not want to take the ship because it's not your ship.
Okay.
You would just call somebody and they would come pick you up.
And they come pick you up, and then once you leave the ship, it would despawn like they normally do. They'd go away at that point.
Well, I mean, I'm not even sure if they'll despawn with persistence, though.
No, ships are going to despawn. Ships are not going to remain in space. They've talked about that. You'd have hundreds of thousands of ships in this game if people left their ships floating in space all the time.
I'm sure it will stream out.
That's what I mean. No, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Stream out. That's what I mean. I'm sorry, I said despawn. Yeah.
But I mean, even so, like it's, I don't really see what the problem is. Like beyond the whole, you know, don't write checks that your bodies can't cash. You know, which has already kind of been beat to death.
Yeah.
Like I don't see it being that big a deal.
Okay.
You know, if you have a group of friends, all pick the same starting location.
Okay.
Be like, hey, you know, if you guys want to do stuff with us, everybody pick Narcotech. If you pick someplace else, well, you're going to have to catch up on your own.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, coordinating is for some people, it's not a big deal. Like last night, we all got together and I gave everybody 30 minutes. We were going to do something and everybody said, well, I got to do this. Okay, 30 minutes, let's all meet up. 30 minutes later, we were all ready to go. Everybody's at Port Tressler and we went, you know. And this was spontaneous. This was nothing planned, you know.
Yeah.
I do think that there is, to your point, I think there is some people are going to have to think differently about the game later because the spontaneity of things that happen in this game now are not necessarily going to be there later. You will have to, like you said, plan and think ahead. It may be that that's what it's going to take to get back. If you jumped out 8 systems and you know that you want to come back on Monday and be in this system, well, you better be thinking about that ahead of time, not waiting until the day of, you know. But okay, I'll buy that for $1. Okay, cool. All right, Togi, thank you, brother. All right, brought it down to the basics. There we go. Let me bring in Kai's in, and I'll bring in Jay. Kai, back.
Hello.
Hey.
Okay, so I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. The obvious answer on how they're going to handle anything, if you want to think it through, think what's going to allow them to make the most money. They're a company. They're in it to make money. That's not a bad thing. I'm not shitting on them for it. They're going to sell you lots of crew. They're going to sell you AI blades. They're going to sell you all sorts of opportunities for you to have freedoms to play the way that you want.
Mm-hmm.
And people say, well, you got to understand that a blade or an AI NPC is never going to be as good as a player. Okay. You then obviously have never played MMOs and done random pickup groups where you get these people that are just absolute dog shit, like have no clue, are just hitting, like they're just rolling their face back and forth across the keyboards. It's painful. So if you say like, hey, this person is only 60% as good as top level crew, that's better than most of the Walmart greeters you're going to get randomly matched up with in any MMO on a if you do Final Fantasy 14 and you're doing your dailies. Holy shit, is it hard dragging that group of retarded third graders across the finish line. But like, so what? It's part of it is going to be whatever. Now, your idea about you said, well, what if they could do this? How could they work with it? Imagine if you have me, you, like me, Griff, and Fastcard go out every Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But Fastcard also likes to play Tuesday night with his brother-in-law, and Griff wants to play Thursdays with his daughter, and I want to play, I want to play another day with my boss at work or whatever. Like, how could they do that? Well, let's think it through. Did you ever read the book or see the TV show? Amazon did one season of it, The Peripheral. Imagine, so The Peripheral is based on this idea where you put on this headset and you sort of telepresence. So imagine if they say, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to, everybody can be at their house and you can buy a telepresent bot that you put on that ship and you get the headset and you drop on, and now you plug in and boom, you're there. You're on Fastcart's ship and you feel it, you see everything, you feel everything, you smell everything. You're as you're playing and you're just as good as you are. You're in control. It's 100%.
Okay.
And then Fastcart goes, all right, guys, time, session's over. We got to go. You log out. Well, your body is still in your house at your compound floating out in space or your own ship somewhere. Your bot that you paid an extra $20 to CIG for gives you one sort of character, one telepresence on Fastcart's ship. But you might pay CIG for 8 telepresences, and one of them is on Fastcart's ship, and one of them's on Jade's ship, and another one is over here on my ship, and another one is over here on Hurston, and you can VR pod telepresence yourself into all these places. And this is literally just off the top of my head, one possible idea that could facilitate the specific use case that you were saying. That would allow CIG to, number one, make more money. Number two, give you the freedom to play how you want to play. But it's just a thought.
Interesting. It's interesting. There is someone put it in chat. What you gave was a variation of what they had talked about back in the past, was what they called it agent smithing.
Yep.
And the idea was that people would be able to, if you bought a secondary account, you could basically jump that body, into another ship, and do it that way. It is an option. I'm curious as to how they'll protect some other dynamics of that, but that is it's a theory. It's an interesting theory that maybe they could put in the game. I'm not sure if it would be monetized. I could see how they could monetize it. I'm not saying that they won't. But I could also see how weighing out the benefits of monetizing it versus making sure that people can play the game and not monetize it. I don't know.
That makes sense, Griff.
I mean, it'll be interesting.
It's not like we've seen CIG lean into monetization.
Oh, right.
So
you're right. No,
right.
but I get it. There's going to be some cost. No, I'm just saying.
No,
You have to see what the numbers say, because you can monetize to a point to where people push back, regardless of what they say, and say screw
I
that.
agree.
You know.
So, but here's the key is, I'm not saying that this is the one. Here's the short of it is this: there is no one answer that will fix all use cases. There is no. So, I think they're going to lean into giving you the Baskin Robbins. They're going to give you 32 flavors of how you can fix the issue, and they're going to sell you all of them.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, Kai. Thank you much as always. All right, let me bring in Jay Voodoo Child, then Almost Over, then we're going to go to the next one. Jay, how are you?
Greetings. So I'm glad you hit this order in the way you did, because that 2013 blog, when they talked about extra game packages,
yes,
that is exactly what was being talking about with the show. I forget the name of it, but that's essentially what's going to happen. Is like, I have multiple game packages that I've purchased.
Right.
And so I will self-crew a multi-crew ship.
Okay.
And I can log on to any one of my packages. I can, take over a Han or the Chewie character of my ship. And the other one is run by AI.
Okay.
Now, if I have a friend online who wants to play what I want to play, they can take over the AI that I'm not using.
I remember this, yes. But are they still going to do that is the question. I know that, I remember when that came up. I just don't know. Because I've heard that the whole Agent Smithing thing was thrown out. And I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it is.
This is a big topic, and this is kind of like the cornerstone of the content that I create, is talking about this stuff.
Okay.
The 2020 AMA, Todd Pappy said, we are still planning on doing this.
Okay.
So for all the people that says 2013 doesn't mean anything right now,
it's still relevant.
It's too old.
Okay.
To me, it's kind of dated forward to 2020, and I've been in this game since 13. So,
you've been following it. No, that's good. That's what we need to hear. No, we need to hear it because, like Kai said earlier, or BBG said, this isn't an old subject. It does go back further. Maybe some people is starting to strike them now that they've got these big ships and they're starting to see how expansive gameplay is. They're saying, oh my God, I've got this freaking so-and-so. And yeah, it's cool, but I'm starting to realize what it's going to take to operate this ship,
right.
And they don't want to feel restricted, obviously, because if somebody can't be there or schedules don't match, like this person, and I don't want to say this in a bad way. This person says, I've got 8 people, but 8 friends, but none of us happen to be on at the same time. What do I do? Is what they're saying, but you do give a good option there for that, which is interesting. The AI dynamic.
The term agent smithing isn't the correct one, because agent smithing, the way the movie works, is that other player would actually replace the AI with their character.
Right.
And there was something a conversation you and I had like months ago, that you heard that agent smithing was not going to be a thing. And I looked it up. I found out where that was. And basically, yes, the term agent smithing is not going to work, because their character is not going to magically appear on my ship, and have their equipment and their reputation, their skill set, and all that sort of thing. But no, they can possess, or as the case with the TV show, you can take over control of a pre-existing body.
There. Okay.
And so I'm calling it possession until there's a common term used. They called it port in the show, short for Portuguese.
Okay.
But the scenario that I've tried to lay out to kind of explain this thing is like, the Star Citizen Raid Night version is, I'm on a deep explorer. And I have the captain of the ship is the owner of the ship, and they have all the crew members filled out with extra digital downloads.
Okay.
And so you can have your ship out in the deep verse, and on Tuesday night, 8 o'clock, everyone logs in. They took over the open slots. If Joe can't make it that night, that's okay because the AI is still there running it in their place. If Steve has to bounce at 10 o'clock a little bit early tonight, then that's okay because the AI will just take over where they left off.
So let me ask you a question. Okay, I get how you're saying how the ship will continue to operate. What happens to Steve? If Steve comes into the game the next day, he logged out on your ship, but he's not there anymore. I mean, this goes into does this break immersion because he's not waking up on your ship now. He's waking up, or are you saying he still would wake up on the ship spawns in, and then he could leave there to do something else? Or is he going to wake up at his home?
Steve's character stayed wherever he was, even on that game night. He took over
so the only
an extra package that I had.
So in other words, so in order to do that, the person whose ship I'm going into, they would have had to have done that pre-preparation ahead of time.
Correct.
Okay. All right. I get it. Okay. All right.
Now, Steve could say, okay, I'm going to have multiple characters and I'm going to leave one on this ship because I know it's always going to be there. Now, when Steve leaves that character, when he's not logged into that character, I'm not sure whether the AI is going to be active if Steve logs off. So there can be some kind of issues there.
Okay.
Now, as far as monetization, it's still going to be more money for CIG because to get extra digital downloads, you're going to have to buy starter packs.
Right.
And I advocate starting our CCU chains with starter packs so I can have these extra entities to sell through and all that good stuff. But just like we saw with Squadron 42, they originally were a part of starter packs, but they created a standalone version and they doubled the price for it. So eventually I would imagine that they will offer an extra digital download as a standalone entity to be like a character slot onto your account. And I anticipate it being double the price of what it is now of a standard 15.
Good googly moogly. Okay.
Yeah. Now, the starter pack sales that happen, they reduce that price down to $5. And I'm thinking it could be $30, $35 as a standalone thing. And the only difference between getting the sale of $5 in that more expensive version is you're limited to 10 years insurance. Because most everyone wants to do the lifetime insurance as the start of their CCU chain. And I advocate against that because you're only saving time in the game after 10 years. Is like when you're now required to have the insurance premium.
Yeah.
But I think the time savings of starting your CC chains with starter packs is just so much greater because you can have multiple characters, and if they're just acting as the captain, you can have your ships in different locations where they're useful. You're not trying to travel back and forth from your spawn point anytime you want to switch ships or roll.
Okay.
So I think the game savings is just far more better with starter packs. But the biggest question is how many extra characters will we have on the count? And no one knows that.
True. Well, you've given it a lot more thought than I have. So you've worked out a whole different system. So it'll be interesting to see what they come up with.
It's kind of like the cornerstone of what I try and contribute to the. So yeah, anyone can ask me questions. I'll be happy to talk about this.
All right, stick around after the show, guys. Jay's always hanging out. Okay, thanks, buddy. All right, last one, almost over. Then we're going to get into our last questions here. Almost, you there?
Yo, what up, buddy?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm all right.
Good.
So let's bring it back to the question at hand. A lot of people kind of went off on a
covered a whole different subjects about this whole crew thing.
And clones and but let's bring it back to the question at hand. So this is where, and I've said this before. Don't know how long ago. Could have been years. I don't know. But this is where I think blades and the NPCs and stuff. I think that's where it's going to come into play. If you're out mining someplace on a Rastra, and one of your friends can't make it or whatever, I think that's when you have that backup blade to do something. You know what I'm saying? And then even then, let's say you're, let's say the guy that couldn't log in was like let's say for because we don't know how this is all going to work. Let's invent our own little tier system right now. Tier 0 meaning you don't have the skill, and tier 5 meaning you have the best of that skill. So let's say your friend was a tier 5 engineer, right? And so he can't make it, and you need an engineer. You need at least like a level 3 or 4 engineer to be able to somewhat do what he wanted, what he was capable of doing. That's when you would have that NPC take over that. And again, they're supposed to, I remember them saying that different blades or will be better than others and stuff like that. And so that's why I think that market's going to come in where people are going to just hunt for blades and different I don't know what the
AI and stuff. I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah. They're gonna hunt for that, because if you're going out on your Arastra or your Orion, whatever, you're gonna want to have some of these extra blades and stuff, and things break and whatever. So so you're gonna have to continuously be able to purchase these things.
Okay.
Because over time they'll crap out or whatever.
Okay.
So let's say you purchased the best blade. Somebody found an amazing blade or whatever, AI, and the best one I feel like would still have to be not as good as putting a human in that spot.
Okay.
Now that could be for two reasons. That could be either the best one is only, let's say, a tier 3. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Instead of a tier 5.
Right.
That could be the best one. Or the other thing is simple communication. If I'm working with you and you tell me, hey, almost, I need you to go over to this location and check this out. That's very easy communication between us, and I can go do it.
Right.
Whereas there's plenty of games, and I think it was Star Wars: The Old Republic, where you had your little guy follow you around, but you could tell him what specifically you wanted to do, and he will only do that, nothing else.
Right.
So you can't just, it's not a matter of just coming over the comms and saying, hey, almost over, I need you to go do this. You would have to go back there and tell him, hey, I need you to go to this location now. So that could be, again, you don't know how they're going to do it. It could be as simple as they're not as good as a human as far as like their tier level.
Right.
Or they're not as good as a human because you can't communicate with them like a human. They could be a tier 5 engineer.
Right.
But you would have to tell them, go over to this one specific workstation and stay there. And then they won't move,
Right.
As opposed to walking around the ship and doing what a human would do.
Yeah.
Again, we don't know how all that's going to work. So those are the options that I kind of see how they would get through this. So again, if your friend couldn't make it, or two of your friends, then your backups would be the AIs and the blades that you have.
Okay. So
that's how I look at it.
Let me throw two things at you. One, you're absolutely right on that post. I'll give you some of the things that I know CIG has said. One, you're right. There will be an opportunity to hire NPCs to work on your ship. Two, you will have to pay them. They will be paid for being on your ship for whatever it is you have to do. Three, they will be like living entities. They will have to eat. They will have to be able to sleep. They can get frustrated. They can skill up. They can get better and more proficient as they do certain tasks and jobs. You may hire them as a level 1 or level 2 engineer, but if they spend a lot of time with you and you treat them well and take care of them, they may end up being a level 4 engineer. So let's think about that CIG has that in their works, right? Which is exactly what you said. In time, we'll get that. The blades. Blades, as you guys know, some of the computers have areas for computer blades. They're designed to be something that you put in the ship to do a certain task. Definitely can see how blades could work for things like turret operators, things of that nature that are much more on a mechanical level. I agree with you. How do you communicate, though, when something needs to change? A server blade cannot jump out of the computer and put out a fire. Maybe the NPCs can. Maybe that will be part of their responses of what they do. So there's a lot of stuff that you can program into what we call companions, right? What they can do in a ship. I agree. Here's the perplexing thing that this person mentions in their post. What happens when Griff is on almost over ship? Griff needs to log out for that day and goes do something else. Now you continue to play. You break out your NPC or your blade, and they're down in the rec room or whatever, and you put them in my spot. That's fine. But Griff is no longer on your ship. You log out, I come back later that evening, I want to play. Where am I spawning into? Am I spawning into your ship where I logged out and your ship spawns in? You're not there anymore, but I have permissions. Or am I spawning back at my home base? And then let's just say I spawned into my home base. I do what I wanted to do in the game that day. But now it's the next day. You say, Griff, we're getting back into your roster to go out again. When I get back in the game, am I still back at my home base? Or do I have an option to log in with you? Or do I automatically log in with you? Those are the things I think that they're trying to figure out because of scheduling, people's life, all these different things that prohibit them from getting together at the same time. Does someone get restricted? If I get on your boat for 3 weeks, am I restricted to your boat? Or do I have flexibility to leave your ship? Once I leave, am I gone? Can I come back? That's what I think that we're all trying to navigate. And I don't know what the answer is, to be honest with you. I don't.
I mean, we spoke about this, I think, like a day or two ago.
Okay.
And I talked about how it works currently.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're on your Carrick and it's your Carrick and I'm working on it.
Right.
And we're both in saved to the regenerative bed in the Carrick. So that is your spawn point, right? So if you, and that's my spawn point.
Right.
So if you put your Carrick away, then what happens is my spawn point changes. I can't remember if it was to my home, which is always in Lorville. I always get Lorville. Or if it's the last place that was my spawn location. I don't remember. It's been
a while
at least a year since
log. I know I've forgotten too.
Yeah. So in that regards, it works well because I also feel like we talked about this in like a show some months ago about people gaming the system to where I could be on your ship.
Right.
And then you log out, and then I'm 4 star systems away. You know, I don't think CIG is going to want that.
Right. And someone mentions that in chat that they said they don't want people teleporting all over the place, which they did.
Yeah. So to me, the only thing that really makes sense is if that happened, like say you logged off and I slept in your Carrick and it would only make sense to me that you would spawn at the closest hospital. Just
to wherever the ship was.
The closest hospital to that ship. Therefore,
that's
preventing people from teleporting around.
Right. Using it as a way to get around.
But then you'd be shipwrecked on.
Exactly. You might be someplace really far out. Yeah, it depends. It depends.
But then, you know what? That's that whole game. They have a gameplay loop for that, and that's that whole taxi service thing.
Boy. Yeah.
You're going to have to call. I mean, look, in real life, I mean, if you want to hang out with your daughter who's in New York and your wife who's in California and your son who's in Texas, well, guess what? You got to take a plane or drive.
Yeah. That's real life, though. And I don't get me wrong. You get what I'm saying. I'm saying that's real life, and you got to find that happy ground between real life and gameplay. And I don't know what the answer is. I wish I had some inclination for you all to tell you what I think it could be. You said dudes that hate their imaginary family hate each other. I don't know.
I have a large family. I have a large family. I lived in Vegas for 12 years, and my family would always tell me to come visit them in our hometown. Our hometown only had it literally had what was it, 1/10 the population of Las Vegas. I was like, why would I go to that hillbilly place when you guys can come to the party capital of the world? Y'all come visit me. So, anywho, right. those situations.
It's an interesting theory that you've got. I get what you're saying, and I agree with you about the ship. How a ship can be manned, I get that. I think the conundrum is that aspect of when I leave your ship, where does that place me as a player? Am I restricted because I went to bed on your ship? Or if I leave your ship, if I wake up in the game, where do I wake up, and do I have the flexibility to rejoin you later? You know, I want to come back with you guys. You guys mine on the Orion every Saturday during the week. I did my thing, but I know we're getting together. I mean, do I need to shuttle back out to you? You know, which may be virtually impossible considering we're talking about, if you're with an Orion, you're going to be in deep space. You know, the amount of time for me to even get to you may be, you know, not even worth. We talk about how long it takes now, but oh my God, if you're 8-9 systems out, how do I get to you? You know, or do I just log in and there's an option because there was a bed log there and that ship is active that says if you want to join that again because that ship is active, you can go there.
Okay, so that's another thing that we did with when we were testing it. If let's say it's my ship, right? And you have bed logged in my ship. As long as I log in before you, you automatically spawn in that bed.
And that's what I'm saying. That would be the only thing I could think of that works, but I don't know if they're going to do that. Well,
that's how it works right now. And to me, that would make the most sense.
That's the way it works right now, as long as I don't log in before you. If I log in again, I wake up down on a planet or at a base. But I'm saying, let's say that I do that. I log in and I wake up at home. Now it's the weekend and you guys are back in the game. I'm going to log back out at the planet where I was. I'm not going to go back to your ship because I broke it once I left your ship. I'm wondering how they're going to make it so that I can rejoin you. I want to go back with you guys.
See, I understand that, and to me, I feel like the example or how they have it in place right now is exactly how it's going to be. I just think people don't accept that. So if you broke that chain by logging in before me, right? So it's my ship. You broke that chain,
right?
And you go off. Let's say we're in Pyro. You go off to Stanton,
right?
And then I log in a day or two later,
right?
And
I log
that
in
chain
right
has
afterward.
been broken.
Right.
That chain has been broken. You're in Stanton now.
Wow.
So
that's tough.
That's the way.
That's tough.
That's the way I feel like it's going to be. It's just people don't want to accept that answer.
Okay.
But that's the thing that makes
I think it's going to stay the way it is. Does it break the immersion?
You have beds all over the place. People be teleporting. You know, so
yeah.
I think that's the way it is. That's my
fair enough. All right. Thanks. Almost over.
Yeah.
All right, that was interesting. We'll see what they come up with. CIG's going to have to figure out something. We know that. Okay, gang, we're going to hit these last couple subjects. You can relax, get yourself something to drink. We're going to have a really good conversation. Thank you guys for joining us. Those of you who are here, Griffin Gaming RPG. We're talking about, as you guys saw the title for today, want to see grown men cry. Yeah, I want to see grown men cry. So let's move on to this next topic here. This is a topic I picked called pop culture, and you guys know what pop culture is, right? Stuff that's popular in the culture. What's the thing, you know? His Divine Shadow says, I ain't crying. Okay. I want to show you guys a couple things and let's talk about it a little bit. As you guys know, for IAE, CIG produced some videos. People had asked about Jax, whether or not Jax was going to show up because we hadn't seen anything. And Xylo put out a post and said, hey, the animation teams have been doing some other work with Squadron 42. We're not going to do Jax this year, but Jax will come back eventually. People were like, oh, okay, we get it. You know, you guys are trying to get Squadron out and everything else, blah, blah, blah. Then lo and behold, we got these videos, right, that popped up. And we're going to take a look at the very first one. And let me get this all queued up here. We're going to look at the very first one with Garman. You guys, I know you all guys saw it, Garman Humble. If you didn't check it out, make sure you check out these videos. They're pretty good. But let's take a quick look at this very first one here with Garman Humble, okay?
Hello, folks. Garman Humble, back again.
Uh-oh. That's the wrong one. Let me see if I got them out of order. Yeah, I did. Give me 1 second here. Sorry about that, gang. I'm showing the second one first instead of the first one first. Where are you? Oh no, oh no wonder I put the video in twice. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry, guys. Where's my video? Where are you, Garman? Oh my God, I only downloaded it once. Oh shoot. All right, hang on a minute. Where there's a will, there's a way. Oh geez, how did I do that? I downloaded the same video twice. Isn't that the craziest thing? Give me a second here. History. Garman Humble. Sorry about this, gang. I thought I had this together. I'm slipping. Garman Part 1. Go. Of course, there'd be a commercial running. Always, right? Here we go. Get over. Skip. Stop. Start. Audio. Doing this all live, gang, so bear with me here. And here we go. And here we go. And here we go.
Hello, folks. Garman Humble here, back on the mean streets of Area 18. Cities like this are teeming with scumbags and lowlifes that would just as soon shoot you in the face as give you the time of day. That's where I come in. When preparing for patrol, it's important to check your armor, your sidearm, and of course, limber up. Staying loose is your #1 weapon when it comes to stopping crime. Trust me, the only thing standing between you and an unceremonious death in the gutter are security professionals like me.
Don't test me.
Oh there, buddy. Oh, take a step back now.
Who the hell are you?
Garman Humble, freelance security
A
professional.
freelance cop. Oh, for crying out loud.
And coming with me.
Die, fake pig.
Armor? Check. Sidearm? Check. Should have stretched, scumbag. Don't worry, no need to thank me. You're welcome. Stopped a crime. Burrito time.
All right, that was the first Garman Humble. Let's see the second one here.
Hello, folks. Garman Humble back again. And today, we're going after a high-profile bounty. Hey, bud, do me a favor. Stay here and watch the stalker for me. Little joke there. But seriously, never risk your shit if you don't have to, folks. Okay, so if my intel is good, and it always is, the mark should be holed up somewhere down in that little backwater. Probably dug in deep. This manhunt could take days, weeks, even months. This guy's well connected and... Oh. Wow. That's his ship there. Guess I better get down there. The mark is likely to be jumpy, with a bounty this size on his head. Not that the credits matter to me, of course. It's all about the justice. Oh shit, they're taking off already? Jesus. Okay, folks, here we go. Oh, jeez, I didn't have time to stretch. There. All right. Now let's find this. Nope. You aren't the mark. Oh, hello. You, throw down your weapons and... Okay, so much for bringing him in alive. Who the fuck are you? Easy there, big guy. Don't make me use it. Oh, shit. Time to go. All right, here we go. I always wanted to do this. Hold on tight, folks. Mission complete. Burrito I eat. There you go.
Okay. So, I'm sorry. That was Garman Humble, security professional. I would like to get some feedback. What do you guys think of this particular route that CIG has gone? We've been kind of used to getting Jax every year for IAE, and I think there was a lot of anticipation for Jax, more because last time we really watched the thing with Jax went into Pyro, and we got the Corsair was introduced to that, the Cutter was introduced to that, and the Galaxy was introduced to that. And so I know there was some like hoping anticipation that maybe Jax was going to come back through the wormhole, maybe with the Galaxy, and then they'd sell it or something like that, but there was some ideas of people wanting to see Jax come back to see what was going to continue with the story in Pyro. But CIG went a little bit of a different route. They did shoot this sequence was actually done, I think, in Pyro, the part that they're showing here. Just give me some quick feedback on what you guys thought of them going a different direction with this, okay? Let me bring in Pops in space. He has already come down to the room. Pops, are you there? Pops came in, and then Pops decided to mute, so maybe Pops isn't here.
I'm sorry.
Oh, there he is. Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I like the approach that everybody in the verse is not always the best, and we accidentally solve things by, whatever. And the most important thing that you should have in the verse is have yourself a good burrito catchphrase.
Yeah, it's funny that you would say that everybody's not perfect, because even when we watched the Jax videos, Jax had his times where he screwed up and did things right. He didn't always do things right, and they do kind of put some humor in there when they do make these mistakes. There was one great Easter egg, I mentioned this the other day, that was in this video, and it was when the grenade goes into the engine of the Valkyrie. They dropped in the Star Wars hyperdrive failure sound as the engine sound on the Valkyrie.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, there's a little sequence. I'll play it real quick here because it's coming up. Let's see. Where's my thing? It's here. Let me see. Hold on.
It's good. And it always is.
Right.
Now let's find this.
So listen when the grenade goes into the engine.
Okay, so much for bringing him in alive.
Who the fuck are you?
Easy there, big guy. Don't make me use this. Oh, shit.
That sound right there. Yeah, that's the Millennium Falcon's quantum hyperdrive sound, which I thought was kind of a nice little ode to Star Wars, from the crew. But it was something different. It was definitely different. I was curious to see whether or not. Now we talked about this before. Remember, Pops, when Reunion came out, CIG. We wondered whether CIG would continue to occasionally produce some type of content, and a lot of us liked Reunion. And so it is kind of nice to see that they're expanding these characters. I am curious to see whether they will become a part of, whether it's a one-off or whether these characters continue to show up, later on in the game. It'll be kind of interesting to see. Okay?
Yeah. It brings, it breathes life into it. If it was just Jax, all Jax, all the time Jax, it would be, too predictable, too boring.
Exactly.
After a while.
Okay. All right, Pops. Thank you very much.
Okay.
All righty. Pops dropped in and gave us his thoughts on that. Let's go ahead. Oh, Gio's dropping in. Let me get Gio before we go to the next thing. Gio, you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. What you got?
So not too much on this video, but what you were saying about Jax, I have a theory to that.
Okay.
A conspiracy theory.
Okay.
I think they were trying to have the Pyro stuff ready this year, and maybe the RSI what was it? Was it the Galaxy?
Yeah, the Galaxy.
What was
he took the Odyssey there, and then somebody else stole the Galaxy and brought it there, but he destroyed the Odyssey, so the Galaxy is still there.
Okay, so he took the Galaxy. That was the last ship he took?
He took the Odyssey and he crashed it. He destroyed it. And then somebody else smuggled the Galaxy there because it was supposed to be at the RSI show. And he remember that's at the end of it. He saw the galaxy, but it's still there. It's still in Pyro.
Okay, so I think
the prototype for it.
Okay, so I think next year, well,
go come back with it.
yeah, they're gonna have Jax there with it in Pyro, and there might be something we have to do in Pyro with the show. 'Cause we were having a conversation about this last week with some people, and I guess they said in lore you couldn't have IAE in Pyro, but something in the lore might change where they may have a Pyro or something about not Pyro, IAE in Pyro, and we couldn't get that this year because they weren't done. That's why we got that little test, but it wasn't quite ready for prime time. So that's my little conspiracy why they didn't have Jax this year.
Let me throw this at you. What if they tie in him coming back with the Galaxy next year during IAE, and then they introduce Pyro for us to come play in officially? That's I mean that's what I think it might happen.
Be.
Okay.
That or and with the Odyssey, he might have both ships done.
It'd be cool if they did the Odyssey.
Pyro.
Yeah. If they repaired
like, hey, look, here's 2 capital ships in Pyro. Bring y'all butt here. Jax is out here. Blase Trois. Like I don't know if they're gonna do IA there. Obviously,
no, they won't do that. Yeah, they won't do that.
To be honest, I'm really surprised they didn't do IAE in what's Cloud City? I forgot the name of it.
Oh, at Orison. Well, they were there last year. That's why. No, we were there last year. At Orison. I forget Lorville. I forget. Yeah, but I think we were there last year. I can't remember.
No, I don't remember. Yeah, because I want to see the Orison ships IA. I think that'd have been cool, but maybe I missed it last year then.
Yeah, that's true, Lefty. They probably will put Pyro out before November. I agree with that. But yeah, we'll see what happens to Geo. You said there may be some reason why they're holding Jax specifically, because obviously they produced some videos, right? So it wasn't because they couldn't produce videos. That was just a little smoke screen for them to put out.
Right, it's definitely more than that.
Yeah.
They ain't never stopped them before.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Okay, thanks, buddy. I love this conspiracy. Love it.
And this voice that was the voice actor. I thought that was Lando. It really sounds like Lando, and they're saying it's not him.
I don't know. I don't think it's him. I think they probably hired somebody. Yeah, they probably hired somebody.
It kind of sounded.
It's like something he could pull off. Yeah.
I can see Lando doing something like this. Yeah, but these are cool, but they don't.
Yeah.
They don't. They seem pretty pointless to me.
Nice little shorts. They're just things for the IAE. You know, they're pretty cool. Yeah. Something different. All right, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, let me bring in Fist and Stunner. Then we're going to go to the next one. It's Fist.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hey, Art. You sounded a little muffled for a minute. All right, so yeah, my take on it, I liked it. It was kind of cool. Kind of reminds me of an overconfident bounty hunter that believes he's doing great.
He's like a mall cop. Like a mall cop.
Right. He realized he don't realize that everything is going in his favor by sheer luck. Realistically, you know, the whole thing when he had the guy in the
in the alley
in the alley, yeah, you know, I mean, showed a little bit of skill, but you know,
did you catch the joke? Sequence, did you catch the joke with sidearm?
What's that?
Did you catch his joke with sidearm?
Oh, sidearm check.
He made a joke. Oh. Yeah. He said armor check, but then he said sidearm is your gun, right?
Right.
He punched him. He said sidearm check. Sidearm.
Yeah.
Sidearm.
Okay. I get it. I get
bad
it
jokes.
now.
Bad jokes. He said that's for some fast card jokes. You should have got that. What the heck?
Let's not give him too much credit. Anyway, let's move on. No, but I'm just saying. Yeah. No. We love you, fast card out there. But anyway, no, you know. But no, I appreciate it though, because it was kind of a fresh look at something in the verse. Yeah. You know, I know you probably get into the other ones, but yeah, I enjoyed it. It was silly.
Okay. It was entertaining. You know, it was entertaining.
Yeah, exactly. You know, don't take yourself too serious.
There
right?
You go. There you go.
When you're trying to be really serious.
There you go. All right, bro. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Let me bring in Stunner, and then we're going to check out the next one. Stunner. Are you there? He's got to unmute.
What's going on, Griff?
There he is. What's up?
Not much. Not too much to say. I like the new characters they introduced. I think Sub Vigio might have been right that they may not have originally planned on doing more, but maybe because Pyro, you know. But I think one of the most fun things they're gonna be able to do, COG will have a lot of fun with, is the crossover between Jax and these new characters.
Yeah.
Why not do that down the road? You know, that could be pretty funny.
Absolutely. And we've been not asking for, but we've been wondering whether or not CIG would continue to develop their own in-house machinima as well as community machinima.
Yep.
And I think that they can do both. You know what I mean? We don't want them to become, you know, the next Pixar, right? But it is nice that they're able to do some things that maybe enhance the community, enhance the story, enhance lore, you know, and then at the same time be embracing of what the community is producing too, which I think is a very cool thing for them to do. You know.
Oh yeah, like I really like these, and obviously they're well done. But I'll tell you what, it also shows you how good our community is out there. The people that are making machinima as well, because they do stuff every bit as good as this.
They sure do. They sure do. This is good stuff. Okay. Well, thanks, bro. Appreciate you.
Yep. Take care.
Alrighty. All right. Let's jump into the next ones, gang. We already looked at Garman. Now we're going to take a look at Mahli. Mahli goes to Orison. Let's take a look at these. These were also produced. These came out on Origin Day. On Origin Day. These were in the magazine for Origin Day. So let's take a look at these.
Hi friends, it's your Mahli, and on my way to Orison. Stunning clouds and the planet is gorgeous. Big shout out to Origin Jumpworks for hooking me up with this entire experience. We're on an 890 jump. Yacht life! Origin Jumpworks has totally pulled out all the stops for this special intergalactic aerospace expo series. What a mouthful. But love, they totally hooked me up with the most luxe ride, the most happening cities in Stanton. Bye, Origin crew. Not sure what this is, but my niece will live for it. Look at Crusader HQ. Just standing here makes me feel rich. So apparently they're storm walls, not whales. Had to get a picture of the statue, duh. 100% tourist vibes. Like the total tourist that knocked over my Moby. Rude. Low-key though, Orison is beautiful. These fountains, the cherry blossoms, everything. It's a moment. Anyway, y'all need to be here. Gonna end my day relaxing with a sunset cocktail. Thanks, Intervalac. Whatever. IAE. Cheers, babes. New Spectrum post tomorrow.
All right, that's the first one.
Friends, wait for the end of this video. Day 2 and tomorrow I'm blasting off to Microtech and the Intergalactic Aerospace. IAE, y'all know what I mean. Light workout before my Stormwall tour. I'm seriously so excited for this and want to say thanks again to Origin, my amazing sponsors. People are obsessed with these whale Stormwalls. See, I'm learning. The person in this costume, I mean, how adorable. I'm on this shuttle thing, guys, way less fancy than the Origin one and full of tourists. Real Stormwalls! They are seriously amazing. Got back on land and things started to get real weird. First off, some people full on ran into me. Red flag numero uno. Didn't even notice the Crusader security. Second red flag. Then in the middle of my food selfie, some randoms burst in and start shooting. Friends, this may be my last. Stay tuned for my next post to see if I survive.
All right, and part 3.
Oh my god, what happened? My head. They must be like pirates. I'm gonna keep rolling, see what happens. The shuttle! There's my ride! Just gotta get over there. Oh, Crusader security. I'm saved! Sir, hey. Oh no. Ew, he killed him. Okay, Molly, keep it together. You got this. Ew, is that blood? Oh my god, nasty. This is seriously super disturbing. So much property damage. Like, where is the shuttle? That looks like it could get me out of here. If I could just make it over there. Yeah, you go over there. That's right. Don't turn around, don't turn around. Here goes nothing. Not sorry. That's not the shuttle. Well, friends, that was wild, right? And now, here I am back on this lovely 890 jump and headed to New Babbage for the IAE, once again basking in the opulence of the full Origin Jumpworks experience. It obviously takes more than fanatical pirates to slow me down. See you at the expo, babes!
Alrighty, there's Mahli at Orison. Okay, another great set of videos that CIG produced. Again, they put these out on Origin Day. If you guys have not seen these, they were in the magazine when you go on the IAE page. Each day they had different information, but the one with Garman and the ones with Mahli are embedded in there, but they're also on the RSI website if you want to check them out. So let me see who I've got here. Let me bring in, I think Kai's in, they've been the first one in. Let's bring in Kai, and then we'll bring in Jade and go down the list here. Kai, you there?
Hello. How are you?
Okay, buddy.
All right. Oh, am I muted?
No, you're good.
Okay, beautiful. I absolutely love these. I didn't hop in on the last one, but just on all of these, they're so well done. They have different flavors.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the last set was like the mall cop, and it was sort of hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
I was very sort of Kenny Powers bounty hunter.
Mm-hmm.
This one here, I shit you not. I live in Philly. I check out like a lot of the food stuff. If you go to the food stuff on TikTok, if you find like cool sandwich spots or whatever, this sounds like every douchebag running around in South Philly or in, down at Reading Terminal or in Williamsburg or Brooklyn with like, oh, okay, I just found the best sandwich shop. They start off with some this and some this and some this and ooh, rando. And then it sort of progresses into this whole story of like what happens when a douchebag ends up being a hostage in a sort of live fire event of some kind. It was super well done, super interesting, and it captured just the flavor. It was brilliant. Like you can knock CIG for a lot. You cannot knock them for a couple of things. Their marketing is always on point, maybe almost sometimes too good. Their art, they always bring the pretty. And with stuff like this, they just have an innate sense of how to capture sort of the zeitgeist. I guarantee you, especially if you live in America, East Coast, and you're like me, that you click on those little TikToks when you open up YouTube because you see a sandwich or a slice of pizza or something, that they perfectly captured 99% of all of the people who like spend 60 hours a week working in a cubicle, but then come out and like try to make it look like their whole life is just going around getting monster sandwiches and pizza in Brooklyn. Like they perfectly capture it.
Yeah.
So just bravo. Phenomenal job. Very, very, very well done.
Okay, fair enough. All right. I'll take that and we'll keep going. Thank you, buddy. All right, let's bring in Jade. Jade, you there?
I am.
Oh, wait, hold on. I got to turn the volume down. Okay. I had you loud. Go ahead. How are you?
But yeah, I like this a lot because I like both of them, right? Yeah. But I posted a thread specifically on Spectrum.
Hold your thought, because I'm actually closing with your thread.
Okay,
so let me ask you a question. No, let me ask you a question. Do you want to come back when I do that, or do you want to talk now? You want to come back then? All right, I'll bring you back when I do, because I've got it on here. Okay, all right. Okay. Let me bring in Fist to Face. Fist to Face is next. Fist, you there?
Hello.
Hey.
I enjoyed it. It was a different twist on seeing life in the verse from a younger generation.
Okay.
Everything. Now I got a question to you. Would you allow her on your 890 jump?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question. Who killed more bad guys between those two videos?
She did. Now, at the same time, too, she brought a lot of destruction.
No, she didn't. No, she didn't. She didn't bring anything. She was sitting there eating her lunch. She did not bring any destruction. She was minding her business.
which, if you can see it that way, that's fine. I mean, I get.
What? She tore up a golf cart and she blew up the ship with the bad guys? Is that the
I
destruction
love
you're
it.
talking about?
I love it.
Yeah,
Hey,
she
listen.
didn't. She didn't do it. Look at what BBG said. BBG said they started it, Mahli finished it.
You're right. Hey, listen, I ain't gonna lie. It was really cool because it kind of reminded me like a Jar Jar Binks moment.
Well, there you go. Hey,
you know,
ends justifies the means, brother. You know.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, I agree with you.
Got
though,
the
it is
job
something different.
done.
Yeah, it is something different, right? And that's the reason why I titled this "Pop Culture." Okay, some people don't see that both those videos are reflective of pop culture. The subconscious reach of those first videos was The Mandalorian. That's what's hot in science fiction people's minds. So we took something out of pop culture, gave it some spin, and put it in here. And for those of us who are into The Mandalorian, immediately subconsciously embraced it. People who are out of this generation, and this is their world and TikTok and everything else, immediately embraced it, right? So they've reached two different demographics within the same group. See what I'm saying? Within the same week, they reached out to two demographics of people who are in this game. Because unfortunately, us old heads are the Jax people. You know.
Yeah, and right, and I appreciate CIG. I mean, you know, the whole team, like you said, you know, making these machinimas and not just covering one section of the community.
Yeah,
you know, which is a good thing.
Absolutely, absolutely,
know,
good stuff, great thing. Good stuff. I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. Okay,
yeah, I did.
Let me bring in let's see, Pops in space. Now bring in Admiral. Then I'll bring back Jade. Pops, you there?
Yes.
Yes, sir. What you got?
Yeah, you know, the beginning kind of reminded me. I don't know if you remember this old movie, The Outer Towners.
Yes.
Yeah, you remember that old. Yep. And where she started on her journey, and it turned into something like The Outer Towners. It turned into something entirely different. It did start out slow for me in the beginning. I'm like, okay, I'm like, this is kind of boring. You know, she's just taking pictures. Then the second one, but it did leave you wanting to see where are they going. And then the second one happened, and they definitely left off on a cliffhanger. Like, whoa, is she going to make it out now? And my point of saying that is that by the end, you fell in love with her. It was like, you know, like, oh man, you were rooting for whatever you want to call it. You know, so it ended up really cool. They should have put a disclaimer on this. Do not try this at home. You know, that kind of a thing. But yeah, it was really cool. Really cool.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Pops.
Yeah.
All righty. All right, let me bring in Admiral Kusanagi, the Admiral himself. Admiral.
Howdy.
Hey.
A lot. I mean, there's a lot to talk about here, and I like both of them. Both sets were great. I think regarding her, I definitely think she's not low class because she was more concerned about property damage than anything else.
That was funny when she said that. Look at all the property damage.
Yeah, certainly she'd see more blood in like a low sec area, so that's also why she's like, oh my god, is that blood? But I do want to talk about what they both show, and that is the fact that there are two different types of people going about their business and in their life, and including everybody. You know, they've talked about the Reliant Mako, the news van, and which is kind of like a broader aspect of what this is. But they're both, holding some type of device, or maybe it's a segment like here. She's getting off the ground because she picks up a camera.
Yes.
And this is, they've always said it. Someone said, and I think last night in Soul Citizens, that they were at the Bar Citizen. No, Citizen Con. And they said that everything you see in the game, in these videos, is something you're going to see eventually in the game, time dependent. It could take 3 years, it could take 10 years, or whatever. But so when you look at, when I look at like Expat Brat and how she goes about her stream on Twitch, she stops, she looks at the camera, talks to you, and looks back and does the controls again. This is what we're going to be able to do in the future. We're going to have like the ability where you see Twitch streamers like in a not first person or third person aspect, but like literally seeing their view from the camera that they could be holding and running around with, whether it be on their Mobi device or attached to the Mobi device or whatever. Right. I think both of these are prime examples of what we could be seeing in the future. And I think that's fantastic.
I'm glad that you noted and caught that. When we watched Jax, when Jax went to Pyro, he did the exact same thing. He broadcasted from his Moby glass. And we have the same thing happen here. People want to isolate this one as being different. Grumble was doing the same thing. He was broadcasting and doing, we saw the fuzz. He was broadcasting the same thing. So you're right. This is kind of giving us an inkling, hopefully, of what we as players will be able to do. We'll be able to record things or upload things, or maybe even be able to do live streaming of things that we're doing in the game. So it's great to watch the story and the animation and all that. But I was hoping that people would see beyond that and see, where is CIG going with this? What are they trying to show us that is common in all of these videos? And that technology that you just mentioned, Admiral, is definitely something that they seem to be highlighting more and more. The social dynamic of the game is something else that we got to start thinking about. So thank you for bringing that up. Okay.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you, sir. All right, let's get Sir Togi in. Then I'm going to bring in Jade. Then I'm going to give you my final thoughts. Sir Togi.
What up?
What up? Almost.
Much as I liked those videos, I also like the burrito time.
Well, you almost got the voice. You almost, matter of fact, that's what they should have asked. Did they hire you? Yeah, did they hire you to do it? Because your voice is close to that.
I think it's weird that they're making low pop servers canon. I mean, low FPS servers canon, because the AI does nothing to stop these people. They don't even get a shot off.
That's true.
I mean, they're worse than stormtroopers at this point.
There was one funny part in the video, Mahli's video, where the guys back there beating up the freaking whale mascot. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but go back and watch the video. He's actually pummels the.
I mean, they're really well done.
Yeah,
and it's the kind of character that CIG is currently missing.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, it is. It is. You really should, Togi. You've got the voice, dude. You need to be like the James Earl Jones of this game, dude. Yeah, I'm telling you.
Around.
As Garman dress up, I'm telling you, they would think you're him. I'm telling you, you've got the freaking voice for it. I swear. I didn't even notice it till you said that. I'm like, oh my God, he sounds just like him. I think you could pull it off. Well, anyway.
Where's the burrito stand?
All right, thanks, man. All right. Last but not least, let's bring in Jade, then I'm gonna give you guys my wrap up here. Jade, you back?
I am.
Okie dokie. Oh, I gotta turn you down again. All right, there we go.
Sorry.
That's okay. You're good.
Yeah. I'll speak softly.
No, you're good.
All right. So.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm gonna keep you in here with me. Is that okay?
Uh-huh.
And then you can elaborate, because I want to talk about what you say at the end here. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, gang. So here's my reason why we brought this up. And you guys remember, I said the title of today's show was "Want to See Grown Men Cry." Okay. And I was really, first of all, I saw these videos and I chuckled through them. I laughed at them. And I'm an old guy, right? I'm a boomer. Okay. And when I watched both of these videos, I enjoyed both of them. And then I ended up talking to Jade, and Jade said, have you seen the videos? I'm like, yeah, I saw the videos. She said, well, did you read the comments? And I'm like, no, not really. I didn't read the comments. I just watched the videos. And I went back and watched the comments, and oh my God, there was so much, I don't even know what the word is. There was just, and you guys can check out the comments for yourselves. There was so much, I'll just say pushback. There was just so much pushback about the Mahli videos. And I was trying to decipher it. So I kept reading them and seeing what people were saying. Yeah, I know Jade says toxicity is the word. Yeah, but there was just like this whole weird rage that came out of some weird place. And I was trying to figure out what's got everybody so freaking worked up about a video. There were people saying everything from, this is where I asked for my refund on my money, or this is just ruined IAE for me. I mean, just all types of stuff that people were saying about these videos. Now, at first I looked at it from a generation gap thing. I said, okay, it's all the old guys who are probably barking, but I'm like, nah, because I'm an old guy and I didn't bark about this. I've got two daughters who are 27 and 29, and I'm up on TikTok in general because I keep up with social media, but they keep me up on, they send me stuff and everything. So I've seen videos like this, and I watch them, and some stuff's not for me because it's not my generation, it's not my thing, but I get it. I felt like they captured a lot of, is this Gen Z? Is this Gen Z stuff, or is it post Gen Z, Jade? Would this be Gen Z?
That, yeah, I would say that it is definitely Gen Z, later millennials.
A little bit later millennials, maybe. Okay.
But yeah.
So it's somewhere in that group, right? You know,
yeah.
And so, and again, it's not my group, but I can watch it. And even if it's not my thing, I'm like, well, it reaches to them. Why am I blowing my head up about this? Now, the reason why I'm sharing this is because I want to give you guys a little bit of history. And Jade knows this. I love Jade. And I'm like, sometimes I play the elder statesman, the Jade, because I tell her about stuff that old people do, and she kind of tolerates my going over old stuff. So I'm going to go over some stuff real quick. This was an ad when I was growing up, Jade. I don't know if you recognize that bottle. It's a Crown Royal bottle. You recognize it?
No.
Okay. There's an alcohol called Seagram's Crown Royal. It's a popular drink, right? And their campaign at the bottom, if you read it, it says, have you ever seen a grown man cry, right? And basically that ad was the guy dropped the bottle and broke his liquor, right? And he's like, okay, and he's crying because he lost his liquor. And that was kind of the purple bag. No, purple bag. I know HDS. You really going back. This was kind of the genesis of this whole thing for me when I thought about this, about, grown men getting upset about certain things. We talked about the F8 earlier. Now I'm talking about this video, Let me show you guys something, or let me share something with you guys first before I show you that. Let's see. Let me make sure I cover this right, because I don't want to give you guys the wrong thing. Some of you guys played Eve online. Some of you that are here played Eve online. And some of you may remember, and I know this is going to be probably not fitted correctly, so bear with me here because I had to run that video earlier. Some of you guys may remember this. Let me see if I can widen this out some, because I made it too short. Oh, there we go. Narrow it. There we go. All right. So Eve Online, at one point, why isn't this showing that part at the top? Let me see if I can do this again. Bear with me, gang. I'm going to have to cut this and redo it because it's not showing you the whole article. Those of you who played Eve Online, this was back around 2010, maybe. Somewhere around that time, maybe a little bit before that, actually. It was somewhere between 2005 and 2010. Eve Online, at one point, wanted to introduce people walking in stations. Does anybody here was a player of Eve in chat? It was during the Arcana patch, back around that time, and this was 12 years ago. 12 years ago. And so, thank you, Fast Cart. They wanted to actually make it so that you could walk around in Eve. Now, those of you who play Eve, you guys remember that Eve's third person. You're outside your ship, and all you do is point and click and tell your ship where to go, right? And so they wanted to do this. Now, let me show you what it looked like. And Jade, you'll probably dig this. I want you to see what this looked like. And this is what it looked like. Okay, so just kind of bear with me here. Let me start the video. Where is it? Here. There we go. Now, this was 12 years ago, gang. This is freaking when Chris Roberts was starting. Eve had tabs in it. It had monitors where you could pull up information about what was going on in the game. There was live news. There was live news features. It was current, like real-time news. Stuff that was going on in the game would pop up on this thing as you walked around your joint. And you could sit on the couch. You had all these different holographic equipment and all this other cool stuff, right? Then you could walk outside your hab and go outside and see your ships that were docked outside of your place. And their character creator, anybody who's ever played it, they got a beautiful character creator. And it was so cool. So that's one of her ships out there in space, right? And you could go to a console and you could call up whatever ship was in your fleet and you could see it out there. And she's going to do that right now. She's going to go to here. She's going to call it up. She's going to change the ship to a different ship in her fleet. There it is. And then what was cool was she could swap out her components and stuff. That's how you trick out your ship. All that stuff. This was 12 freaking years ago. 12 freaking years ago, okay? Beautiful. All right? Holograms, all that great stuff. Okay. So, let me show you what happened later. Turn that off. And let's go back here. And I want you to see this article. Okay? This is whatever happened to Eve's walking in stations update. Yeah, I'm going to connect all this in a minute, so just bear with me here, okay? I'm going to skip all this stuff here, talking about the game and blah, 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 blah. But I want to go to the part about talks about what happened. Why didn't we ever see that, right? Why didn't it ever get into the game? All right. And then it says, we don't have anything coming out with this expansion, blah, 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 blah. But we had a team doing a prototype work on walking in stations idea. That was part of Incarna. That was the patch. They're really looking at it from a base level upward. So when we introduced the idea, we had grand visions of what it might be, and we'd expressed that in various ways throughout the year. Then, check this out, technology and complications became hard realities for us. We aimed pretty high and we met many of our goals, but not many of our gameplay goals. It really became more of a single player experience, okay? As with many elements of EVE, design and development, feedback from the CSM and the player base were critical in shaping how or if Incarna's development would continue. As a platform, it works out really well for us, but based off of player feedback, we took a step back from our Incarna full development plan, says Ned. We've had a team doing prototype work on what Incarna gameplay might look like in the context of EVE's gameplay. We've done a couple of iterations on what it might be with EVE-ness in mind, so we know things like risk and reward, multiplayer action, stuff like that, okay? So basically what happened was this, for those of you who were there was a technology hurdle, and CCP put this out for us to see it and try it, and I loved it. I thought it was so cool, because now we're going to be able to go into space stations and meet people and talk and have meetings and do stuff. The player base pushed back on it. They did not support it. They barked like dogs. We don't want this to be some kiddie game. This isn't some freaking Nintendo, blah, 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 blah. And guess what? Boom, it got killed. Now, this is before the social dynamics of games blew up the way they have now. Now people want these places where you can get together socially and hang out and meet your friends and talk. CCP would have been 12 years ahead. They would have been ahead, but the player base was limited in their vision and chose not to embrace building a social dynamic in the game, because everything they were doing was based upon combat. They didn't see anything beyond fighting and doing ships and dominating space. And now we have a game that's trying to expand and go into a different space than that. Now, that's one example I'm going to give you guys. Another example I want to give you guys is this. Let's see. Some of you guys may have seen this. There's a documentary called The People versus George Lucas. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I'll give you the synopsis of what it's about. Some of you guys who are old Star Wars fans will remember this. When Star Wars was being produced, George Lucas made the films. He never was able to make the film he wanted to make. He was able to get a lot of it done, but there was a lot of stuff that he couldn't do either because technology wasn't there, or the budget wasn't there, or there was a time constraint. So later on, once he had built the success of the 3 movies in the first trilogy, he said, this is driving me crazy. I want my full story to be on screen, and I want the people to be able to see it. So George Lucas goes back and remasters the films and adds new scenes and modifies things to make the film that he had always envisioned. Well, guess what? The fans railed against him. They went nuts against George Lucas. They went crazy with it and said, this was the film that we grew up on. This is the film that we helped pay for. We bought the t-shirts. We bought the books. We bought all this stuff. We have supported this project, and it is now pop culture. It is a part of our way we came up, and do not touch these films. Leave them the way they are. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand that feeling. I grew up. I stood in line for hours to watch the very first Star Wars film, and I love the originals. Thankfully, I still have original copies of them. But there were people who literally said, screw George Lucas. I'm not going to another Star Wars film. I'm not supporting anything else that he produces, because he really messed up this thing that I love, because I've paid into this and I've done this. I think you all see where I'm going. Quite often, we in our own community have shot ourselves in our foot. We haven't seen complete vision of something, and we rail against it so hard, and we push it away, and later on it hurts us. EVE, I guarantee you, would be a much bigger game if they had introduced first-person play into their game. They're just now doing it now because they're introducing a revamped version of Dust 514 where people are going to be able to do PvP play in it. But if they had introduced social dynamics 10 years ago, guarantee you that game would have blown up bigger than it is right now. And I guarantee you, I'm saying this as a warning to the community. We better be careful about what we push back on and what we ask for. Because later on, George Lucas, after we put all that hate at him and said we didn't hate him, we didn't know what he liked, gave it to Disney. And then guess what happened? Yeah, we got some good stuff from Disney, but you guys know those movies that Disney produced, we ain't been so happy with. And we now saying we wish George Lucas, they had followed through on George Lucas's scripts and we had dead black. Yeah, now we're saying that in retrospect. But guess what? George Lucas ain't coming back and running Star Wars no more. It's gone. It's Disney. So I'm just saying, I'm just trying to be ahead of something here, that we better be careful about what we push back on in this game. Some stuff has no effect on us, none whatsoever. Some stuff, if it doesn't change your life, it doesn't affect you, you know, nobody has to guard the doors with this game, okay? But there are all types of people playing this game, young, old, gay, straight, whatever you want to go down the list of, black, white, whatever. Tons of people are playing this game, and CIG has some real smart marketing people that know how to reach out to who they need to reach out to. So I'm saying this because I want our game to be successful. I want it to be something that people can come to and play. And I don't want us squabbling over stuff that doesn't mean anything when it's all said and done in the end. If you don't like Garman, it's okay. If you don't like Mahli, that's okay. If you don't like Jax, that's okay. But don't shoot us in the foot. You know, don't create this toxicity within the community that we've all been trying to avoid and leave because we've been in those communities before. We really want this community to be a game that says people can come and everybody can fight. It's a universe. It's a freaking universe. It's not a town. It's big enough for everybody. Everybody should be able to come into this game and have a good time. And I worry sometimes that we start thinking the wrong way about this thing. We get entitled, just like the George Lucas fans did. You know, we forget. Mahli didn't do anything than what Garman did. Garman didn't do anything different than Jax did. They all got on their freaking Moby Glass and said what was going on in the world. You know, so enjoy it for what it is. Don't mess this thing up over the wrong things here. This is Jade's post. I'm going to read it and then she can talk about it. Jade put this up, and I don't get a chance to put too many of our folks' posts up, so I'm putting it up today. But she said, "Hi, CIG. Ignore the haters. There are plenty of us who love Mahli series and want more. It's exactly the type of refreshing IAE content I was hoping for in Jax's absence. But if it's not too much trouble, I'd like you to continue to follow Mahli in the future years, even when Jax comes back. I was never a huge fan of the Jax stuff as it didn't really relate to, I never really watched it in real life, in the TV series it was based on, but this for her is recognizable and feels like real life in the verse. It was fresh and different. Same with the Bounty Hunter series. Please keep them both going. It may not be everyone's cup of tea, but neither is Jax. Diversity and context is a good thing since different people like different things. Please keep up the good work done here." And you know, the fact that she leaves room for saying what she likes and leaves room for other people to like what they like. Okay. It may not be everyone's cup of tea. That's the thing, you know, but it's okay. No, it's okay. All right. I'm done. I'm through preaching, y'all. All right, Jade, whatever you want to say, wrap it up.
Yeah, like you took the words out of my mouth pretty much. But yeah, I wasn't expecting this thread to blow up the way it did. Like when I posted it, all I wanted to do was just let CIG know that there were people out here that loved Mahli and loved Garman. And, you know, I know that just from reading the YouTube comments on the Garman videos versus the Mahli ones, like there wasn't the hate out there for Garman as there was for Mahli. And I felt like, you know, there's a part of this community that anything that doesn't directly relate to their experience or what they want to do in the game, they like hate on it, like, which is why people hate Origin chips unnecessarily, right? Yeah. You and I both know this, right? Or like, so this was, you know, an influencer that Origin hired, right? To live the Lux life, to show off to her generation Origin, because the 100 series is aimed at literally people in their late teens, early 20s, right? So it makes sense in lore that they would have somebody like this. And I felt like reading those comments, I just felt very disconnected from those people because I didn't feel like they had connected with Chris Roberts' vision of the game. You know, Chris Roberts has compared this to Space Second Life, right? And has said in his letters from the chairman. If you just want to go hang out in a bar with your friends, or be a social butterfly, that's okay too. Like, it's a universe, a diverse universe full of diverse people doing diverse things. Not everybody's going to be a bounty hunter. Not everybody's going to be a medic. Some people might want to be an influencer. I, want to be a news reporter, right? Like, there's all these things. It's all Star Citizen. And I don't want us to ever feel like that the game should be limited only to what some loud, toxic voices feel because they were somehow triggered by Mahli.
Yeah. And that's why I said the same thing when I gave that example about Eve. It was the same thing. There were people who felt they had a certain ownership over Eve and didn't leave room for even the company to try something different. You know what I mean? And so if we're taking this ride, this development ride with CIG, they're going to introduce things. Listen, there have been some things CIG has done that I have not been crazy about, but I've not stamped my feet and said I'm not buying another ship or I'm not going to play the game anymore because they make a certain business decision to do something. And again, this is Chris Roberts' vision. As much as we are a part of that and we enjoy it, and many of us equate to it and walk alongside it, it's still his vision in the end. Just like George Lucas's Star Wars or his Star Wars. I'm sorry, guys. Just because you bought a ticket, that ain't it. It's his vision. He's the one that goes to sleep at night feeling good about what he produces. And hopefully, as an artist, he feels that hopefully you will too. And I'm sure that's Chris's attitude. Hopefully we will too enjoy what he's doing. But my point is, let's not destroy our community. Let's not destroy our community over stuff like this. It's not worth it. Not in the long run. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jay. Sure.
One of the comments in the thread that was directed at me was someone who basically they were trying to say that like I was new money. I come into the game and that CIG was forsaking the older backers that backed the game with all their money and
your money doesn't buy you entitlement.
Yeah,
that's what we're talking about.
This is interesting, right? Because you want this game to grow. You do want it to appeal to, well, maybe some people don't really want it to appeal to a broader group of people than it does currently, but I do.
Yeah.
And I just felt like it was just really short-sighted. It made a lot of assumptions.
Yeah.
So I had to flex on him and throw down my Praetorian 2017.
Yeah.
So,
I've been around for a little bit. Yeah, I get you. I get you.
I'm not new here.
Yeah. All right. I got a couple more people to bring in, Jay, and I got to get going. But thank you for hanging around. I appreciate you sharing, and again for your thread as well. So I appreciate you bringing that in for us. All righty. Let me bring in. I think Popston. No, it was almost over. Then Popston. I'm going to wrap it up. Almost over.
Hello.
Hey.
All right. So, what I'm gonna say is, I want people to understand the mentality of what I'm trying to say, and not like the. All right. So have you heard the term Valley Girl?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Do you know what that is?
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up in the whole generation of Valley Girls. Yeah.
Well, here in California, there's lots of like I like the videos. I really do enjoy the videos. I don't like Mahli,
right?
Because she has the Valley Girl accent.
Okay.
I don't not like Mahli.
Okay.
Don't like
that. You just like the characterization that they did. You don't like the way they did the characterization.
All right. And actually they very much held true to the characterization of a Valley Girl. Very not too bright, let's say. Kind of serendipitously bumps their way through things. Like as a Californian, Valley Girl is, as soon as you hear that Valley Girl voice, you don't need to even see the person. As soon as you hear that voice, you're automatically irritated.
Yeah.
Because of, not necessarily you don't like Valley Girl people, but let's say the stigma that comes with having the Valley Girl accent. That and a lot of people say, let's say, when people argue over states, which is a meaningless argument, when people argue over states, they bring up how dumb Californians are. And one of their talking points is the Valley Girls.
Right.
And again, it's not the Valley Girls themselves that irritate me. It's the stigma that comes with it. That irritates me.
Yeah, let me clarify something about Valley Girls. First off, Valley Girls go back to the 80s. It's old stuff, right? There is a hybrid version of what we saw in this video and what a real Valley Girl is, because she's not a Valley Girl. There is a tonality that's in the voice, and I can understand why people who are used to hearing Valley Girls kind of automatically trigger that and hear it. But if you watch TikTok and you watch some of the videos that people do produce who do this type of influencer stuff, that is actually the way influencers talk. And they are not Valley Girls. They're all over the country, and there's a certain tone, just like when people do live streaming or whatever else it is, people take on a certain tone and character. That same thing happens in social media. So even though I understand how you say it reminds you of a Valley Girl, and believe me, Valley Girl, for those of you who weren't around back in the day, were movies even made about Valley Girls. Valley Girls are basically people who just didn't know their head from their toes. They were just kind of discombobulated, blah, 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 blah. Okay. I don't necessarily detect that in this character. I think it's just the way they communicate. And that's the way young people today communicate. I don't think it's an equation to intelligence or personality or anything, but it's no different than when I text message something and I text 3 sentences and somebody younger than me texts it in 4 words. They communicate differently. And for me, when I get short text like that, it drives me insane because I'm used to detail, you know? And I think that the way they communicate for some people, it rubs them. And it's okay if you say, I don't like the characterization. That's fine. Because you said it's a great video. And like I said, people don't have to like everything in Star Citizen. You know, I don't think you're being toxic, but I think that when people slam it and say it doesn't belong in the game, you know, or I'm going to get a refund, which is not what you're saying, but that's the type of stuff people were saying, then that's another issue.
No, so I would, let's see, the whole psychology is like, it starts off with one thing, right? You like I like the Dallas Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
They're terrible, but I can understand that. I know that they're terrible, right?
Uh-huh.
But I love them, even though they're terrible, right? But then there's Cowboys fans who will argue with you night and day. Every year they should go to the Super Bowl. So they what I'm getting at is not necessarily the love, but they have their independent biases that determine what route they're going to go over this arc, this rainbow.
Right.
So if someone so I'm playing almost like devil's advocate here. I'm getting into the psychology of these people who are hating for no reason. They start off with a subconscious bias,
right,
that determines, you know what, I'm gonna hate
the
this
$2 just because the tone right there shuts them down. I get it.
Yeah, that's what I'm
without even watching it. And the sad part about it was there was so much in the this becomes, there is a short-sightedness to this, right? Again, why I started with the story about Eve, the short-sightedness of it. They showed a whole bunch of stuff in relation to what's going on in relation to what's the group called? The people
Biv DeVoe.
No. No. The people in the video, Nine Tails. They gave up the whole Nine Tails dynamic of what was going on in Orison. They missed the fact that the Osa restaurant was opened up. There was all types of other stuff in there. And they missed all that for the sake of the tone of a voice. They couldn't get past it. They could not get past. There are people who said, I couldn't watch the video. But they were willing to forfeit everything else that was being presented about the game and stuff that could possibly happen in the future because of a tone of a voice. Like the beginning of my show started, want to see grown men cry. That's what I meant by that. They're willing to throw everything else out because of that one thing. Not you, but there are plenty of people in those chats who said they wouldn't do it.
Yeah, no, I understand.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's why I kind of wanted to say my piece on the whole psychology of how one thing
how it trigger folks
just kind of determines how they're going to interact with a certain aspect. Because I didn't know about the post, and I read a lot of the post, not all of it, because there was a lot in there.
Yeah, a lot in there.
Yeah, when Fastcart posted it, I started reading through all the comments. I was like, okay, this is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
But then I started thinking about how when I first heard Mahli's voice, I was just like, well, I like the video, but how come I don't like the video at the same time, and I started having to. I really had to think about this, and I was like, oh, it's her Valley Girl accent. That's why I don't like her, is because my own, not necessarily how I view Valley Girls, but how other people view Valley Girls makes me upset about hearing the accent in general.
I get it. I get it.
So
yes.
I could see some of these people are probably having a whole psychological train of effects that's happening.
I get it.
As opposed to them just outright hating it.
I get it. Okay, fair enough. All right, buddy. Thanks for dropping in. All right, let me bring in Pops, then we'll bring in Lefty, then we'll bring in Gio, or Gio, then Lefty. I don't know. Pops, you there?
Yes, I am.
Yes, sir. What you got?
Yeah. You know, when I first watched, this series, I watched it from the question that I asked Brian Chambers about the things that we will get, that we see in these videos. The second time I watched them, like I said before, she grew on me. I'm not a bounty hunter. What's his name? Not Marvin. What's his name?
Garman.
Garman. Okay, Garman. I think sometimes socially people have to. If you will remember this old saying, walk a mile in someone's shoes before you judge them. I think some of us need to try to do that. Sit down with people. I have met people. I've met Mormons that I've never,
thought you'd be
never
talking
talked to before. And I sat down on the bench next to a young lady, and she was just so pleasant to talk to. I mean, I'm not going to be a Mormon, but people, sit down and don't be so afraid to just talk to people. Just see what's on their mind and see where they're coming from before you make a judgment,
make a decision
on things.
Okay,
that's all.
Fair enough,
right.
Pops. I appreciate that. Give everybody a shot. All righty. All right. Let me bring in Gio. Then I'll bring in Lefty, and I'm going to wrap it up. I'm pushing on my time here. So Gio.
My man.
Hey, there he is.
So yes, I'm gonna go ahead and say this got way too goddamn deep for no reason, because it's not that deep. People just want to whine and cry about anything. Now, this was my first time seeing the video, because, like I said, after the first burrito one, I kind of seen like I'm not interested. I'm not usually interested in the machinima that CIG makes. I really don't care.
Okay.
I like the Jack series. That's the only one I really go towards, even though I never watched. I know the characters based off. What was his name? Jeremy.
Yeah, the guy with
something
with the racing thing with the cars. Yeah.
The car show. I know it's based off him, and I never even watched the car show. But
Gears, whatever it is. Yeah,
since we got a ship version of that, I'm all ears. And it's always pretty interesting for him to talk about the ships.
Right.
But as far as these characters go, I think initially the video was I'm going for the cringe Valley Girl. When I saw it, like I was just watching Fresh Prince of Bel-Air the other day, and she reminded me of Hillary.
Yes.
Hillary is cringe, preppy girl. Rich, and it was supposed to be like made fun of and laugh. I don't think it's like this deep storytelling. And I want a refund, because I guarantee you, how much money did they make this year? 98 million or some shit. They won't care about you refunding your little $45. Get your crybaby ass on off Rated in the Spectrum. We won't miss you. Get up out of here. I promise. They just want to go on there and they want to get attention. Wanny boo boo, and they want y'all attention, and y'all give it to these fools. Let them leave. It wasn't that deep, folks. I could tell. I was watching this, like someone said, Jar Jar Binks. She's like a preppy TikToker, goofy, reviewing things, and it was meant to be cringe and goofy. Her character. That's all I think it was.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Thanks, Gio. All right, I'm trying to chop through these. Oh my God, you guys are hopping in real quick. All right, let me get Lefty, and then Togi, then Admiral, then I'm going to wrap it up, guys. Oh, Colossal's coming too. Okay, go ahead, Lefty.
Try to keep it really short, but I got two things I want to touch on. I'm all about empower people to do great things and to continue a good, positive vision. So on that note, we see these people that are kind of hating on these videos, and I understand where they're coming from, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. But what I would say is every single time you see one of these people just hating on the video, if you enjoy it, tell the people that matter that you enjoy it.
And speak up.
Tell the developers, tell the community managers, tell your friends, like, hey, take a look at this. Isn't this cool? Look at all these details that all these other people miss. Say how cool it is, and the content speaks for itself.
Yeah.
But so the second thing I want to touch on, you touched on EVE Online's missed opportunities and vision. And I don't want to come off the wrong way when I say this, but if you watch Star Citizen Live, I saw a very concerning comment from some of the CIG developers talking about how their initial implementation of engineering gameplay is going to be this. And they painted their picture, and I liked everything they were talking about, but then they also said, if you listen closely, they danced around the issue a bit too, that this initial implementation, depending on how it's received, will determine
how far they go,
their path forward for complexity, like subcomponents and things like that. So when you talk about putting feedback where it's worth it, I'm encouraging everybody that's watching this channel right now to pay close attention to engineering gameplay when it rolls out. Let them deliver. But then if they don't go far enough, which I honestly think based on what they said, they don't necessarily intend on, I want them to go the distance with engineering gameplay. So that's me on my soapbox right now. I want you guys to watch that and give good feedback.
That's a good point.
And if they don't take it far enough, tell them they're not taking it far enough. You know, CIG can be very ambitious. But this is one area where I think if they cut it short, this is actually a core audience they're going to be cutting out.
Good point, Lefty. Thanks for sharing that, brother. That's good stuff. You guys definitely check it out. Thanks, man. That's good stuff. I think it was Kusanagi next, and Togi, I think. Yeah, Admiral.
Oh boy, my turn. So Griff, with this, like, you know, we were all past Thanksgiving, and this is my light version of my talk today. And with the holidays fast approaching, I want to look at Rudolph and the Red-Nosed Reindeer, right? So you've got the abominable snowman, and his problem was that the Bumble, I think his name was.
Bumble.
He had to find a dentist, right? So he could pull out the teeth, so he could shut the hell up, and so he could put a star on the tree. So I think some of these people need to find a dentist and get their shit together, and just enjoy the holidays and see what this game goes into. And I will leave with, this is what it sounds like when men cry.
Fair enough, Admiral. Oh my God. If you guys didn't grow up with that animation, to know what Admiral's talking about the Bumble. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Thank you, Admiral. Let me bring in Sir Togi and then Colossal. I'm going to wrap up, guys. It's almost 5 o'clock. Sir Togi.
I'm going to be making this one quick.
Sure.
Right?
Yep. Hey, Garman is back, y'all.
All right, guys, we're gonna take this one from the top. All right, like I didn't like the character of Mahli, but what made me like it was thinking how fun she would be to pirate.
Yeah. Like, you're always finding ways to go after somebody.
Comedy. Oh my God, is that a pirate? Does he have a gun? Dude, I would die. I would just let him go. And I was like, hey, just keep on coming back like once a week. I'm just going to stop you, have some laughs.
Oh my God. Maybe they'll make her a mission giver. Who knows? I don't know. We'll see what happens,
Togi.
Togi.
Taker, cargo taker. Like, yeah, just make her a pirate. I would love Valley Girl Pirates. I'm down.
Valley Girl Pirate, you down for it? Okay. Thanks, Togi. All right. Last but not least, Colossal. Let me bring him in. Hey, buddy, you there?
Hey, Griff. How you doing, sir?
I'm okay. I didn't preach too hard earlier, did I? Colossal will let me know. Did I preach too hard earlier?
Well, preaching is a good thing. Sometimes people need to learn a little bit of extra love in their life.
Okay.
But in reference to this, Griff, I'm going to give a different spin to this. See, I'm going to use a Rick and Morty reference of the whirly-dirlies, because I hear a whole bunch of whirly-dirly people over here just fussing about the wrong things. I'm always all about lore.
Okay.
And clearly these people fell off the choo-choo train when it comes to the lore. I want to thank CIG for this video, because it clearly basically told us how corrupt Crusader is, about how they can't manage their own systems with the Nine Tails. Okay, folks, get into the lore, guys.
That's true.
Get into the lore.
No, why don't you share some stuff about what's going on in the game right now, because people may not have noticed this stuff. You're right. You're absolutely right. We've got the graffiti. Right? We've got the graffiti that they've been painting around the city and stuff right now. They're showing that they're getting further in. They're not on the platforms, right? They were down in the freaking restaurant and stuff in this video. You know?
Right. And all these people want to sit there and grope about is some girl that's being exposed by Nine Tails. Get over it, folks. Look into the lore. Get off your little laps. Read a book, for God's sakes. Read something about the lore from RSI, and so you can understand how corrupt Crusader is about allowing Ninetales to come and ruin their whole beautiful Sky City and come over to Hurston and enjoy the peaceful security of what the Hurstons have given us.
Oh,
have a good day, Chris.
Oh my God. He went closing out with the Hurstons. Oh. All right, y'all. Listen, we are done. We are done for the day. Really appreciate you guys being here and hanging out with all the conversation, especially with my preaching today. So I appreciate you guys being here for that as well. Real quick, let's talk about what we've got coming up. You guys know that this is PodSat Saturday for us, where we partner along with Paul Shelley over at the Captain's Table. His show is going to be starting in exactly 14 minutes. So we're going to probably send you guys over with Paul today. So be sure to hang out with him, see who he's got on. He usually has some folks from the community content creators who come on and talk about the latest in Star Citizen. I guarantee you it's going to be a good show because we're wrapping up IAE. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of good information that they're sharing at the Captain's Table. After that, the folks from Relay are on at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So make sure you check them out as well. I'm sure they'll have some thoughts about IAE too. Last but not least, tomorrow is our final show. We have been doing our coverage on CitizenCon 2953, each week taking 2 episodes, 2 of the sessions in and watching them. Tomorrow, we're going to finally hit the last 2 episodes, Living on the Edge and Destination Adventure. You guys hopefully can join us tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern time for that, as we continue to talk about what's going to be going on with CitizenCon in the future for the development of the game. Last but not least, did I remove it? I think I did. Don't forget, let me see, give me 1 second here, gang. Did I miss it? Shoot. I'm trying to find my promo for the Bar Citizen. Okay, don't forget that next week, let me find this real quick, gang. Oh, Jesus, I don't have it here. I don't know why I don't have it. Bar Citizen is on Saturday, December 2nd. If you have not registered for Bar Citizen, we want to encourage you to do so. Give me a moment here, guys. I want to find this because I want to put the barcode on the screen for you. Soul Citizens events. Excuse me. Sorry about this, gang. ABC. There we go. Boom. I blocked my face for a moment. All right, there it is. December 2nd, beginning at 12 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to be having our virtual Bar Citizen where you guys can join us for a global Bar Citizen. Folks from all over the world come in and join us. There are going to be 2 sessions, one beginning at 12 p.m. Eastern time. For those of you who are across the pond in the UK, Germany, places like that, you guys can come to that one. But you can come to either one. Also, there'll be another one that begins at 5 p.m. Eastern time that you guys can do that. One barcode, one link. All you have to do is click on it. Be sure to register. This is done on Zoom online. We do have reps that come in from CIG that often join us. I think Xylo said he's going to be there. And usually we get some other folks to come and hang out with us throughout the day. So hopefully you guys can join us. We're going to be talking about, in particular, CitizenCon this year and the IAE. So there'll be plenty to talk about. Hopefully you guys will be able to do that. So make sure you hit that barcode. Make sure you register for the event. We really would love to see you there joining us, okay, for that. All right, that's it. Let's get ready to get you guys to go over with our good friend Paul Shelley at the Astro Pub. He is going to be starting in just a few minutes. I want to say thank you to everybody who came in and shared today. The Astro Pub. Everybody who came and joined in and shared comments today, thank you for the comments in the chat. I didn't get to read everything. I'll have to read a little bit later. But again, thank you all for being here. Jay, thank you also for posting. Thank you for coming in and helping me out there at the end of the show. And hopefully we'll see you guys tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern time, Soul Citizens, for our final show on CitizenCon 2953. Until then, you guys enjoy the rest of IAE. Watch your wallets. Stay safe. Peace, love, soul. See you soon. Ciao.